David, Jimmy Butler got ejected last night, and I'm always annoyed when referees decide they take out a star. People paid this money. He's the star of the team. They eject him. He was very aggressive with the referee. Usually it's 2 technicals. They gave him back-to-back. I thought, actually, that it was aggressive enough to warrant an ejection because he got right in the referee's face, but also he was walking away when he got the second ejection. When he got the second technical foul. So what's the worst experience you've had with an official?
When the calls are wrong, mostly the home plate. Once Scott Cousins, it's funny, I've thought about this recently. Do you remember the name Scott Cousins?
Yeah.
He was a former player for the Marlins who collided with Buster Posey. And that was the beginning of the catcher interference rule where you couldn't run into a catcher. Do you remember that game? It was a late game in San Francisco. And Scott Cousins had like death threats. The nicest guy in the world. He really wasn't an okay guy. And it ruined his career, although not being good really had a bigger thing to do with him not making it. But the rules changed. So the catcher had to be in a certain place. We're in Marlins Park, and I'm sitting next to the dugout, and there's a play to end a game where we are trying to score a tying run, and I thought the catcher interfered. By interfering, all I'm saying is he was in the way, which shouldn't be an issue. And they called our guy out, and I actually went to the umpire's room, Dan, and you're not supposed to do that after a game. I was so incensed that I went to the umpire's room and asked for very loudly what happened there and how we did not get the benefit of this new rule. And I was sensitive to it because we're the ones who caused the new rule. So I felt we were being singled out. So I called Joe Torre about it. I tried to get an appeal. I tried to protest the game, and I was basically shooed out of the room. And anyway, it didn't work. Let me tell you about last night, though, because you said something that just isn't right. You don't pay money. No one pays money to see Jimmy Butler.
No one pays money to see Jimmy Butler ejected is what I meant.
But no one pays money to see a specific player.
Right.
That's not how it works. With load management, you don't know who's going to play from 1 minute to the next, from one game to the next. Owners now are very careful, and leagues are super careful to make it very clear that there is no guarantee of any player ever playing. So if you want to buy a ticket because of the front of the jersey, not the back.
I buy it to see the back of the jersey that says Martin. That dude is a baller.
Playing good.
Baller. David, I want to ask you about the Bruce Arians incident that happened over the weekend. He has been fined $50,000 by the NFL. It's going to be hard for him to appeal because there isn't a coaches union. Where do you stand on the NFL actually levying this fine and the act itself?
For the audience, so they know, one of his players was on the field. He ran out on the field and hit him in the helmet.
Well, for the audience, I'd like you to listen to the lead of Nothing Personal today, where the word of the day was knock, because Bruce Arians said he knocked him. I watched the video. It was sort of a slap and tickle at best, and he already is appealing the $50,000 fine, and this is all because of Urban Oscar Meyer. Urban Meyer kicks a player during practice. The NFL says that we can't allow that. We are not hockey. They pulled a Sam Weish. This is not Cleveland. Do you remember that? Am I the only one?
God, that's 1989 Bengals coach Sam Weish.
Yeah.
Hold
Hate
on.
that guy
Weish. Yeah.
All right,
Do you remember this when he took
Weish.
the PR?
No.
Didn't I say Weish?
It's Weish.
CH thing you did.
He took the PA, right? Do you remember this during the game when people were throwing things? And he said, "Stop doing that. This is not Cleveland." Am I the only one who's remembering this?
No, everybody
knows what you're talking about,
He
David.
grabbed a microphone, he spoke to the crowd, and he got roars because he told the crowd that they were not in Cleveland. We've covered it. It's 30, 40 years ago. Knock it off.
Stop yelling at us.
Okay. I really wasn't yelling. I was trying to draw a comparison to all of the things that happened during the course of a game that are funny. What Bruce Arians did was trying to get his player off the field. We've had managers tug at players' jerseys to get out of a fracas. You see it in the NBA all the time. Jeff Van Gundy, for Christ's sake, grabbed Alonzo Mourning's kneecap, right? So this is not exactly something that should be finable. But Urban Meyer kicks a player. The National hockey league has a complete scandal where kids are being abused, where players at the major level, the Blackhawks, are being sexually assaulted. So the entire environment has changed so much that the NFL had to make an example of Bruce Arians, saying we will not treat our players with any sort of physical harm, damage. Here's $50K. Arians did appeal, and wait to see. That appeal is going to work. That $50,000 will not stand. It's going to be reduced because Roger Goodell made his point, but that was not a $50,000 slap.
Oh, but I would say you can't be touching the players, David. Like you can't
touch them every day. Now, when we say touch, let's use the right verb. We don't mean touch like the University of Michigan or Nassar. There is contact that a manager and a coach has with his players, putting them in the right place.
No, but David, that's not what that was. He angrily hit him in the head, and only because he's a feeble 69-year-old man and the guy was wearing a helmet. Like, I'm not overstating the fact that he punched him with great ferocity, but don't put your hands on the players.
I couldn't disagree with you more. We cannot legislate against coaching that involves some sort of...
David, that was not coaching. That was not coaching, David. Don't tell me that what Bruce Arians did...
In Bruce Arians' mind, and he thinks it's coaching.
No,
I'm with you. I agree with you. But
coaching,
Arians thinks he's coaching.
Get out of here.
He thinks it is.
Okay, but I don't care what he thinks.
Right.
That's not the only thing that you should care about. Intent.
What Bruce Arians thinks? You think intent matters in the case of manslaughter? Just makes it the difference between murder and manslaughter.
My mistake, Dan. I forgot we're talking about manslaughter versus murder.
Don't touch the players, David. It's not that hard to understand. They're adults. You've got a position of power over them. They can't do anything about it. If he hits you back or pushes you down, he's got a problem on his hands. Don't touch the players. Like, you can coach them. Don't do it angrily. How about that?
I'm sorry,
Don't do it angrily.
You're right. We're dealing into something that may have something to do with somebody's past, and we're digging deep into psychological territory here. But your reaction to this is so emotional and personal that there's got to be something
because you're an executive in charge, and it bothers me that you guys think it's okay to manhandle the employees. It bothers me.
Oh, that's what Bruce did. You're right. I'm wrong. He manhandled them. You're right.
David.
That's what that was.
He hit him.
I may have seen the wrong video.
David,
I must have seen the wrong video.
He hit him in the back of the head, David.
Hit him. You stop using, especially on a show that's audio, you're using verbs that people will associate with something that is not actually real. He didn't manhandle. He didn't hit. He didn't abuse. There is serious things that go on with players and with kids. Let's not for a minute say that what Bruce Arians did goes to that level.
So what's going to happen if a player decides, hey, I'm going to defend myself here and hit back?
I'm going to just push the man with a bad Achilles down. I'm just going to push him down.
You think that what Bruce Arians did with his ruptured Achilles and his man sack is enough that his player was so angry with him that he's going to turn around like what Mariano Rivera did to Don Zimmer? Is that what you're thinking is going to happen?
But what if he did? That's the question.
Then he would get suspended, and I'd probably throw him off the team.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard are you allowed to hit a player?
Like a love tap?
Yeah, what is 10?
I'm just asking. It seems like there's some degree of violence that is tolerable and then intolerable.
You flick them on the ear. That's what you do.
Intolerable.
Intolerable.
It's a tough one.
You can't say it's all
tolerated.
intolerable. I agree with you. There is
I'm just
a scale.
on a scale. So, like, is it 5 okay? Is it 4 okay?
It's one of those things where it's when you see it, you know it. As an executive, when you see a coach doing something that is overly physical, you know it. What Arians did was not
David, we
that.
disagree. You don't get to describe pornography to me. You don't get to decide that I know it. What I saw was unacceptable to me and deserves a fine.
If you see it, you know it. That's what's in the CBA then? Is that how this works?
There's nothing in the CBA about coaches and fines that can be levied toward a coach.
I thought he struck him. And I thought it crossed the line. You say when you see it, you know it. And I thought that was one of the moments I was like, oh, my God, this is bad. This is a very bad look, and it certainly deserved a fine. We can get down to how much of a fine, but I think your point about Urban Meyer is right. The league is trying to make sure that this doesn't happen. It is an awful look for a 68-year-old white man to be striking one of his players just because he doesn't like what the player is doing on the field.
Are you now bringing race into this?
Oh, you don't think that plays a factor?
You think that he only struck the player because he's white and the player was black?
No, but I'm saying optics matter here.
I don't believe the fine had anything to do with race.
What if it was Brady or Gronk?
What are you talking
Who
about?
got slapped by Arians?
What are you
I'm just
talking
wondering.
about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, though? Like,
Well, different.
Protect that precious
playing the
dome.
what-if
That's
game,
a
Dan.
15-yard
if
penalty.
Brady got hit in the head by that, Arians would be excommunicated from the league, immediately fired and thrown in a prison somewhere.
No, not if what he did exactly to this player is what he did to Brady. You keep using the word hit. It was not a hit. He didn't punch him. He didn't cold cock him.
Then what was it? How do you describe it then?
It was it's like a slap. It was a slap on a helmet that the player probably didn't even feel, by the way.
So a slap is not a hit according to you.
A slap is not. Hold on. We're not talking about domestic violence here. I will not let you frame this and edit it and cut it in a way that I am somehow
David, no
pro-abuse.
one's trying to trap you, but you did say that Arians is allowed to do that, and if you do it back, you'd immediately fire the person. That's the imbalance we're talking about that can't be.
Well, that's the imbalance that is.
There is a literal term called slap hitter in Major League Baseball. Come on now.
Well, that actually plays to
That
his.
actually is his point and his advantage.
We have been trying to
Is
get
that-
him though.
Yeah.
I laid a race trap. You laid a domestic
Thank
abuse
you.
trap. Like he's
Slippery
wiggling off
one,
of
man.
his
What a
hook
number
right
on
now.
a scale.
Yeah, just give
So
us a
a
number.
slap's
What was
I
like
still
that?
want to
It's a
understand
slippery
the
one.
scale,
What was that?
Jessica. Please, I'm curious about this because I know whatever I say, Stugotz is going to say, "Oh, that's not the right scale. You can't look at it that way." So, is 10 when someone's unconscious, and 1 is when you don't feel it?
Sure, we'll go with that. So if it was a 10, you would have Bruce Arians, the fine would have been justified. But if it's a 1,
Hold on. If he rendered a player unconscious, a fine would not be
That's
sufficient.
playing
He'd
the
be
result.
fired.
You're playing the result.
Oh, what about intent? What if he didn't mean to?
Okay.
how much
I'm
did
more
you not
than
mean to,
happy.
though, on a scale of 1 to 10?
You're not going to catch me on this because you know I'm a consequentialist in my life. But when you are a coach, the consequence of this slap was nothing. There was no bruising. There was no injury. There was no concussion. There was nothing. The player barely felt it. This was a straight 1, maybe a 1.1. If you're going to say a 1 is when you tap someone on the shoulder to say, "Excuse me, may I talk to you? Can you hear me?"
Oh, come on, David. That's not what he was angry.
What's a Mendoza line for you? What deserves punishment from the league on your scale from 1 to 10?
A 5.
Wrong. It's a 1. Moving on.
I wanted
All of a sudden, you're the arbiter.
Don't put your hands on players.
Of scale.
Don't put your hands on players. If you want to stop him from getting a penalty, put your hand on his chest and pull him away from a pile. Don't actually smack somebody over the helmet. Don't
What
do
if it's
that.
positive, though? Like that a boy, you know?
It wasn't
Great
an
job.
attaboy.
But what if it was?
He tore his Achilles even
Okay,
more trying to
you
do
guys
it.
are making this blanket
Stugotz,
rule.
all
Never
right,
put your
Stugotz,
hands on
all
a
right,
player.
Stugotz, you're allowed to slap him on the ass.
Oh, good.
Unless they're
Don't touch my
women.
head.
Unless they're women.
Right.
So
It's
good.
good.
There
Don't
you
grab
go.
the
I
face
like that
mask.
part of the game when a guy does something good on the field and the coach, you know, he
You
comes
like
off.
that part of the game.
I like to see a coach acknowledge and give him a data boy.
You like
I
a
do.
good ass slap. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Start
I really
slapping
do.
Stugotz in the head every time he has a good
Put it on the
show.
poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Did you know that Stugotz liked a good ass slap?
I heard you, Mike.
I can't believe, Samson. I want to get back to the umpire's room because it's one of the saddest places that I've ever been. But I can't believe that you don't understand that some of this stuff needs to change. Just because the power imbalance has been like this the entire time, the NFL does, for optics and other reasons, has to make sure that its authority figures are not aggressively putting their hands on the players in a way that I would not define as coaching, David, because grabbing a face mask, let's say he did that. Is that okay by you? Angrily grabbing a face mask of a player? Because that's not coaching either.
Yeah, it is. Does he twist the neck? Sometimes you're trying to make a point to a player during a game, and you get right up in his face.
David,
and
make
you
your
take
points better. Make your points better. Like you
No,
don't,
because I get it. My points are bad because
No,
you
not
disagree
you,
with
Bruce
them.
Arians.
That's your
No,
theory.
not you.
I'm Dan
Not
LeBatard. You don't
you,
agree with
David.
me. Your points suck.
No, Bruce
Give me a break.
Arians, not you. Bruce Arians needs to make his point
Oh, sorry.
without grabbing a
Cut that out.
face mask.
Nothing personal, Dave.
No, but with you guys, it always is. I appreciate what you're saying, but that's not how it actually happens in clubhouses or on sidelines or in dugouts.
Okay, so change it.
It doesn't need to be changed.
Okay, but that's where we disagree. If you'd ask the players, my guess is they would tell you that they think that they shouldn't be touched by their coaches.
But stop using that word. That word is a trigger word that you
I
are
did it as
using
soft
in order
as
to escalate this.
I did touched instead of hit. Touched is as soft as I can make it.
You know very well that touch has implications that are going on right now in Michigan.
Oh,
and
you're
everywhere
playing
else.
this game now.
I didn't
You're
say
playing this game.
fondle your players. I didn't say groom your players.
Well, are you putting that on the poll? Should I touch Stugotz when he does something good on the show? Are you going to put that on your
Absent
poll?
context, probably. Yeah. In
Smack.
fact,
Okay.
let's put it on the poll real quick. David, let's move because I don't think either of us are going to budge on this one. I want to talk to you about a situation that requires some nuance, quite like the Bruce Arians situation, which is what's going on with the LA Lakers. I mean, LeBron James reportedly, behind the scenes, is a proponent of trading Russell Westbrook when he was actively demanding that the Lakers target Russell Westbrook in the offseason.
DeRozan wanted to be there.
Vogel may get fired. It's a messy situation, and it's aging superstars. They tried to build this thing around LeBron and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is often injured. He had one healthy bubble. They won their title. So I guess this project, in the grand scheme of things, was a success, but it looks like it's about to crash and burn. Your take on it?
So it's not LeBron is trying to get someone to do something. LeBron is in charge. He's the one who put the team together, and now he's the one who's going to either decide to pull the team apart or fire the coach. After the game last night, there was a report. Imagine this, a report that the coach, Frank Vogel, is getting on the plane. Like, that was worthy of a report, that he is so day-to-day that when he gets on the team plane to go to a road game, it becomes news. You have a team that has no chance to do anything this year because LeBron got exactly what he wanted and the Lakers got exactly what they wanted by giving him the power. Another proof that just because you're the second GOAT in history, it doesn't mean that you're an executive. LeBron James doesn't know one thing about building a team. He doesn't know one thing about forming a team. He knows about what he wants to do when he's not on the court, who he wants to be around. I root for the Lakers to lose every game because when you give that kind of power to a player, you deserve everything you get. They're going to start over. They're going to have a new coach, but they're so down the road with LeBron, they're not going to take his power away, and the Lakers are done winning.
Wow, you think they're done?
I don't think they will not win another title with LeBron James.
Wow. Do you think LeBron would consider? I think he has a no-trade clause. In fact, I'm pretty sure he does. Do you think LeBron would entertain getting traded at this deadline?
There's no way, Mike.
Well, because
No way.
let me tell you, one of the fantasy bookings
Okay.
I've made in my mind is
Boy,
Yeah.
he's back in Miami.
no. This is
God.
the scenario. I think
That's
this is
the only scenario Mike has explored.
This is
that
the only
one.
scenario. Well, I think he would get traded to a contender. Like, if the New York Knicks were a contender, I think you would see a lot more conjecture on social media about LeBron getting traded at the deadline. But right now, like, the team like that's well positioned in the Eastern Conference, he's not going to go to Brooklyn. They don't have the room for him. Miami does make sense. If Miami were just simply in New York, people would be talking about this, I swear to you. And I'm just wondering if you'd think he'd even entertain it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that he wants to be traded, 1 being he doesn't want to be traded, I think LeBron is at a 1. And the reason I do is that I also think LeBron's care of on-court performance is going down a notch every single year, if not every single game. He has a business empire in LA. He's doing things off the court that are so much more important to him now that he's never going to take a trade to Miami, to New York, to anywhere. His kids are there. His life is there. His business is there. He's not going. Sorry, Mike.
I wish this were a multiverse because I guarantee you, if the New York Knicks were sitting atop the Eastern Conference,
Right.
first takes lower third would be
It'd be a discussion.
LeBron to
Yes.
Mecca. People would will this into existence. I'm telling you right now.
David, how about this one? LeBron back to Cleveland. The Cavs are very good. You put him on that team, perhaps he wins a second title for the city of Cleveland. How about that?
There is 0 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's still a 1.
I don't think
It's just
that's
not gonna
crazy.
happen.
I really
you.
don't.
Well, then chew on this scenario. Miami Heat have been playing very well with a lot of people out. Bam Adebayo and Duncan Robinson.
The
Those
only
contracts
scenario
work
they
out.
wanted.
LeBron
Yeah.
straight up.
Duncan Robinson and Bam Adebayo for LeBron James. The numbers work out. LeBron sees that he can chase another title, still be relevant come springtime.
He doesn't deserve this out. He doesn't deserve to be traded. He deserves to wallow in the team that he has created.
Who'd they lose
LeBron
to?
James.
They lost to the
They
Pacers
lost to
at
the
home
Pacers.
last night.
He had 30, 12, and 5, and they still lost
I
to the
think
Pacers.
he's got more 30-point games than anyone in the league. Like, it's a really poorly
He should.
constructed team.
Look, he constructed it.
He put it together.
It's his team.
Play the cards that you dealt.
You
How
want to
about
play
that?
Russell Westbrook instead of your 4 depth pieces? Enjoy this.
Who's going to trade for Westbrook?
He's terrible. He's been terrible for 3 years. Why does anyone
I
want
guarantee-
Westbrook?
I think he got an
to make it so the
MVP
Lakers
and
couldn't win.
he averaged a triple-double one of those seasons
He's
you're describing
terrible.
him as.
Please,
terrible.
Westbrook. I mean, like the most. I don't understand. There's like a cult of Westbrook. There's a cult of. I don't. For the life of me, I don't understand why this guy has lost.
His
He's been
inefficiency makes you mad.
empty calories. No efficiency, the biggest waste of space on a basketball court. He thinks he is the greatest basketball player in the known universe. Keeps taking jumper after jumper.
He's right.
And he has rotted the Lakers. Rotted the Lakers after he rotted the Wizards, after he rotted the Houston Rockets. What are we doing,
Hold
Russell
on.
Westbrook?
I
Please.
love that
Holy
this is
shit.
here. Thank you, Whittingham, for unleashing it. I don't think it's fair what you've done with some of these verbs on rotting. I believe Russell Westbrook to be one of the finest athletes I've ever seen play sports. That is the celebration of
What?
Westbrook. He's an inefficient player, but athletically, he's more of an athlete than most of the people you've ever met in your life.
Back then, and he's
John Daly's a better athlete than Russell Westbrook.
Okay, that is
Whoa!
insane.
What?
What do you mean? He's won more.
What?
He had 2 majors. Yeah.
John Daly has had a far more successful career as a fat smoker
He
than
won
Russell
the
Westbrook has.
MVP of the league.
Triple-double award. Yeah.
I mean, look, he's an inefficient player. That's what's bothering Whittingham.
We've gotten away from my point, which is that if we're doing the NBA Combine, Russell Westbrook would crush it. But in terms of helping basketball teams win, he has not done so in 6 years.
Yeah. You want to put DK Metcalf on the Lakers, Dan?
If you are Jeannie Buss, you are not letting LeBron James make any more decisions. The problem is
Well-
they already told him he could.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
it. They're done.
That ship has sailed. LeBron James
Yes, it
runs
has.
that team, and he is looking at the results. I am so mad that he got rewarded twice after leaving Miami, because the way that he has run teams, because he's run every team that he's been on since leaving Miami, is terrible. He is so bad at this, and yet through the sheer force of will of his basketball talent has won 2 championships. In my opinion, shouldn't have won the first one. The Warriors were obviously better. The second one was in a bubble, but I'm not going to discredit that. But like LeBron James is so bad at running teams, and David, like as someone who like cares about the front office perspective, like players doing this has pretty clearly shown to be pretty disastrous.
It's such an easy equation. That's why it makes it so easy when players come up to you and say, oh, we got to trade for this guy. We got to get this guy. We need some pitching. We need more offense. You just say, oh, you know what? Just do your job. Let us worry about putting a team together. But for whatever reason, basketball has player empowerment in a way that none of the other sports do. The players in basketball are far more empowered, ironically.
It's
than
not
in
for
any
some
other sport.
reason. The league got big promoting and making stars. They're not as disposable as they are in football. It's very purposeful, and it got great success because it created people that we
They're more singularly
that
responsible
we
for
cared
winning
about.
than any other sport.
David's perspective is so interesting to me because general managers and presidents, now I'm not saying this has worked because, well, I mean, they did win a championship, but it's a bad team that he put together. But David's perspective of we know what we're doing, don't tell us what to do. But then also, if the athlete tells him, hey, I know what I'm doing, don't tell me what to do, David doesn't accept that. And I just think that you're protecting the power there. I get to pick the team, not you. And LeBron James is like, bleep both of you. I'm so good I won championships even though I don't know how to build teams.
I will use players' input as confirmation bias, and that's it. So I will try to get them to agree with moves that I know we want to make just so they can think it was their idea. But take a look at the entertainment industry that LeBron is now dipping his toes into. He understands that as actors, so they all want to be producers. They all want to get the credit. I'm a producer. I'm in the producers union. when the reality is that the actual decisions being made, unless you are going to finance your own project, it's being run by the people who give the money. That's the reality of Hollywood. When you are financing, you get a say. You get a stay in casting.
Yeah, but this is a little different, though, David, because he's also responsible for the economies of these franchises when he arrives. So you say if you're the one giving out the money, but what about if you're the oil well that's earning it?
I'm not sure I agree. So the Lakers' asset valuation is based on LeBron James being a Laker?
I'm saying that wherever he's gone, he's increased the economy around franchise value and economy around the places, like neighborhoods. He is an economy that makes more money than anyone probably in sports.
But that money's not going to the organization. The money he's making the neighborhood around the team,
but
where
it's
the
part
team
of his
plays.
value to an organization.
I understand
and
that.
to a city
Right.
and to a region. Like you're saying to me, the person that's writing the checks, and I'm telling you, but what about the one who's responsible for so much of the resources? Because LeBron James has been underpaid the last 15 years, David. Last 20.
Again, I'm not following what your theory is.
David, the amount of money that he makes for the franchise just in increasing its franchise value by keeping the Lakers the kind of relevant that they are now. You're disputing that LeBron James, when he goes to Cleveland, that all of a sudden Dan Gilbert's franchise goes from whatever it was worth to worth a hell of a lot more than that because LeBron James is there.
I'm disputing the fact that the Cavaliers are worth less now that he's gone than they were when he was there. Because under your theory, when he left Cleveland, that means the franchise value would go down then.
He fixed the house, David. He fixed the entire house. It did, like sales, ticket sales and all that stuff did go down. But what he did is he made it so that the real estate can't go down because franchise values generally don't. So he increased it. He put Cleveland in the top class of basketball economies. They have no business being there. Zero.
When you've got people who work for you and they add value to your show, do you pay them according to their value to the show?
No.
So it's very confusing what you're saying now because, Dan, don't forget.
No, but I do, though.
You are now an owner, too.
But I do, though, David. Stugotz is paid according to how valuable he is. Stugotz doesn't have complaints. Stugotz doesn't have complaints about us not measuring his value correctly.
David, you can't argue that LeBron James. You can't argue that LeBron James does not have a transformational effect on organizations that he's a part of. Right? Whether it's cultural relevance, whether it's relevance in a city, whether it's ticket sales, whether it's how your team sells away from home, local television
he's
ratings.
He's not objecting to that. I think he's objecting to the idea that guy then gets to put the team together.
David is arguing that LeBron James does not have an added value in terms of economics to a team.
No, I'm not. What I'm arguing is that the juice is not worth the squeeze, that the increase in asset valuation I get is greater by winning a championship than by having LeBron James. If I can do both, that's outstanding. But if you give me a team full of players that no one's heard of, but I win a World Series, the bump I get in revenue and asset valuation is far greater than signing Giancarlo Stanton and not winning 81 games.
But Dave, like in terms of like how LeBron adds to your ability to win championships, like that is a one-to-one relationship in the past. Like up until I would say probably until right now, at 37 years old, year 19, that it's starting to kind of cross that Rubicon where maybe he's not providing that. But you give him power to run an organization because for a very long time he has been worth that. Like he has been worth the headache of you build your team around him, you build your economy around him, and you win championships. And you kind of deal with the after effects of you have no draft picks at the end of it, and you have a bunch of 37-year-old players.
He has been very worthy to the teams he has played on. None of that means that he should have, by definition, a right to have any say over personnel. He has been a value-added player. There's no question. The second best player of all time, no question. That has nothing to do with dictating who's going to play on the team with him. That's never been a player's role, and it never should be a player's role because they don't know how to do it while they're being a player because they do it with emotion. He basically admitted that it's now time to bring in you, Carmelo, because I want to hang with you. He said, I want to be around people I like to be around with.
And what?
That's not how you win.
Okay, but and what? It is how he's won.
When?
We're in Miami.
Okay, so listen. Do you think LeBron James was the best player in the world at that time? And he had players with him who were also amongst the best in the world.
But they were his friends.
He wasn't
They're
combining over-the-hill bad players. Wade, Bosch, and LeBron, those weren't schleppers.
They had Big Z. Like, they had Stugotz.
They didn't win with Stugotz.
I think Dave's making a compelling argument, which is that LeBron James just needs to pick better friends. Friends who are better at basketball.
Younger better friends. He's got to become friends with John Morant.
But the thing
No, he
is,
chose Anthony Davis. He's always hurt,
but the Lakers wanted him to be friends with Buddy Hield over the offseason, which would have fit that team a little bit better than Russell Westbrook. I think we'd all agree. And he was like, no, I want to be friends with my friend Russell Westbrook.
I think that's the most important point, is that when you give a player that sort of power, you're hoping that they've got the same evaluation skills as an executive, and players simply don't. And when LeBron was younger, he could cover that up more, but he also had different friends. They were all younger. His friends have always been Carmelo Anthony, but now Anthony is old, LeBron is old, so it's not a winning formula. But the more power he has, the older he is, has cost the team more in terms of losing, and there's nothing they can do about it. I think the bottom line is, if you don't give a player power, it's always better.
Not Jeff Conine, not Andre Dawson, but a player for the Marlins who was active, who most had your ear. Not saying that you actually respected.
Had to be Conine.
Or believed much. Well, Conine.
Niner. Mr. Marlin, Dan.
I don't know who it is. Let's find out from David.
Yeah, Conine never got involved in player personnel. He actually didn't care who his teammates were. He just would go out and play. So that wasn't an issue. I had Tom Kohler was a pain in my neck in a lovely way, and I still am in touch with him. But very, very annoying about who we should have and who we should not. Very big opinions. Giancarlo was very involved in who we should get and who we should not.
Hold on a second.
The big salad.
Go ahead, David. He missed his window. He's a little groggy.
Well, no, I mean, David did stop talking. I mean, take a breath.
Your fault, David. Take a breath.
Who's the big salad?
Tom Kohler.
Tom Kohler.
Why is he known as the big salad?
I mean, I don't know.
The hair.
Loves ass play. I don't know.
And that's not worse than slapping a player.
That's only a 3 on the scale, David.
Bruce Arians?
Saying tossing a salad because he likes ass play is a 3 on the scale, and slapping a player is an 8. Okay.
That'd be third base.
You were saying Giancarlo Stanton.
It's the same thing, right? The better a player is, the more money they make, they get emboldened. And making money as a player doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have evaluation skills. And baseball is very different than basketball. When you are bringing in a player, they all want to be around their friends because they're together every day, all day. And bringing in one extra player is not going to be a big deal. There's many times that we have brought in on a minor league deal somebody who we know has a relationship with a player, or we'll keep a brother. Like Vladimir Guerrero's brother was only with us because he was Vladimir's brother, and Vladimir, through his translator, said, I want my brother on the team. It's no problem to do stuff like that on a baseball team, but on a basketball team, it's hard to hide people.
Can you tell us, David, because I'd like to hear the change from you. Stanton signs the contract, and now what changes? He's in your ear telling you we got to get so-and-so?
Before he even signs, he talks about what he wants and the type of relationship he wants with the front office. And once he signs the deal, we know we're married to him, and we have to have a working relationship with him because we want him happy. But remember, we were coming at it from a point of major losing, terrible PR, always trading the players and losing players because of money, fighting and lawsuits and all the issues that we were looking for anything to be positive. So we needed Giancarlo to always be on our side, because after 2012, when he went public against the trade, we had to rehabilitate the relationship with him somehow, and we did it by giving him all that money and then listening to him when he wanted certain things done or not done. And none of that was positive for our on-field results.
What things, though? What are the things? I want to know, did he ever get in your ear, I want so-and-so, get me a right fielder? And was it all just during negotiations? Because he's got to know you well enough to know you ain't going to listen to shit after you've signed.
No, that's not accurate. I actually gave him a bigger platform once he did sign because I wanted him to have ownership, quote unquote, in the franchise. So I was far more interested in giving him power once he agreed, even though he only agreed because of the money we gave him, and he had no choice, but he never wanted to be there. He liked Miami, but he didn't like our front office. He didn't like our lack of performance. He wanted to win championships. The irony of which I discuss with him still, is the Yankees, they are better than the Marlins because they make the playoffs every year, but he's got the same number of rings with the Yankees that he had with the Marlins. So you careful what you ask for. But once he signed the contract, and I would go to him before the deadline and talk about players we're looking at moving, players we're not looking at moving. We traded away his really good friend, AJ Ramos, and that was a rough trade for him because he enjoyed being with him. We did not re-sign his best friend, Ricky Nolasco. That was a tough not re-sign when he was just not good anymore. And I would say to Giancarlo, we'll take him, but he wants more money than we're willing to give him, and we can't afford it. So I was very honest with G after the contract was signed.
Very quickly before we get to your review, we had a discussion yesterday about Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson, do you get it?
I love his movies.
Really?
I know exactly what he's doing.
Can you explain it?
He has a plan. So his plan is that he wants to be out from underneath Lorne Michaels, who basically is the rebar in which his career was formed. He now does movies. He dates these high-profile sort of reality stars, whether it's Kardashian, whether it's Ariana Grande, whether it's Kate Beckinsale, all in the name of relevance. And it's totally working because everyone now knows Pete Davidson. Kanye West, for crying out loud, Meatloaf, wrote a song or talked about, I want to punch him out, I'm going to kick his ass. It's so good for him because it keeps his Q rating going. It keeps him on talk shows. It keeps him off his mother's couch in Staten Island. I love you, Pete, for doing it because you're a winner.
Yeah. When I see Pete Davidson, I'm like, that guy has a plan. What's your review for this week?
Your sarcasm. Are you okay, Mike? There's been a lot going on in social media.
No, I'm not. I'm in the middle of. If I can break kayfabe for a moment, I had agreed in principle with Meadowlark on the structure of a deal, and I found out yesterday that 20% of that structure is no longer there. So I'm kind of wearing it a little bit, but I'll keep moving. Moving on. What's your review for the week, David?
Thanks for sharing that.
Well, look, this has been drawn out in the public, and some of it is content, and we're all having fun here. But it kind of stung, and I have to reevaluate some things. So.
Did Dan give you the line? Did he use it?
No.
It's just business. It's nothing personal.
No.
He didn't use the line.
No. Dan and I are good because I'm not negotiating with Dan. I'm negotiating with Bimmel Kapadia, and you can send all your complaints to our CEO, COO, Bimmel Kapadia, who just totally let me down with a 20% reduction.
That's too bad, Mike. Want me to help, or
I mean, you seem to be doing pretty well for yourself.
By the way, I Googled Bimmel's name the other day, and the first result is a video of him shaving Greg Cody's back. So you can use that in negotiations. It may help.
Yeah. But,
I just had to walk out of the room. I can't believe what's happening around here. I just took a call. Somebody wants to come on with you here, Mike. I can't believe what just happened here, the call I took. We'll get to that in a second.
Skipper?
No.
Oh.
No, it's worse than that. But let's finish up with David Sampson here because we've got a problem on our hands, a legitimate problem.
I'm going to let you go to your problem then because this sounds very serious. You've got a lot of discontent, Dan, and it's very different when you're sitting in the captain's chair, which you are, versus just being a disgruntled employee, which you used to be. So you're dealing with things you never had to deal with, and I got news for you. I think you are ill-equipped. You are like the LeBron James of Meadowlark. So good luck to all of you.
Thanks, Dave.
The umpire's room, though, it is one of the saddest places on earth, right? They make those poor men. It's the one at I don't know if they're all like this, but the one at Marlins Park is awful.
I resent that. I designed that. What are you talking about?
No,
It's
I'm not talking about in this. I'm sorry. The former Joe Robbie is the one that I'm talking about. The old stadium that you were in.
Oh, that was just that was a football closet.
All right. I mean, that whole place was awful. I mean, it was awful. It's nice now, but it was awful.
Yes, it was awful. See you later,
But now the
David.
team is awful.
See you later, David.
All right, good luck, you guys. It sounds like you got a lot of shit going on.
He's David
I hope
Sampson.
it all works out. On a
Thanks,
scale of
Dave.
1 to 10, you all deserve a raise.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate that, David.
Thanks.
Thanks, David.
Host of Nothing
Pro
Personal.
labor, David Sampson.
Make sure to follow him at David P. Sampson on Twitter. We'll talk to you next week.
and I'm available to negotiate for all of you guys.
I may look into this because I think I'm being taken for a ride here because I don't have representation. Some people are really reveling in that.
Well, believe me, representation matters.
What the hell's going on here? Honestly, what's happening around here? I get a call during the break from Dan Patrick's people, and now he's on here. And Dan Patrick was so goddamn helpful to us in making this jump.
DP.
Toward freedom. Thank you, Stugotz. What is happening here, Dan? This can't be serious, what's happening right now.
Wait, Mike, did you not tell LeBatard what's going on? Like, I don't know. What am I missing here? I apologize because Dan was surprised when I said, I got the Danettes here. I got Seton and Paulie ready to welcome Mike Ryan to take over for McLovin's seat here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Score. Congratulations. Yeah.
You know what, Mike? You're not going to be treated, that shitty here. I mean, we're going to treat you with respect. All right? I'm going to be a Dan you love.
This is not good. I don't like what's happening here.
Look, I've been public about my exclusive negotiating window no longer being the case, and I'm open to talk to some folks. And yeah, I'm friends with Paulie and Fritzy and Seton. And look,
Remember Atlanta, Mike, when you and Paulie, it was kind of like your Durant and Kyrie Irving at the All-Star break, media night. You spoke to each other.
Good times. There's very few people in the world that know what this job's like, and Paulie and I share that. And this is interesting. And you're on television, which is something I miss.
Yeah. And this is a show people listen to and watch. Like, that's, something unique as well. But look, I got a chair right there for you, and Fritzy is waiting for you in the back row. We can negotiate.
Back row. We can have some.
God, yeah, he's a front row guy.
Okay. Okay. All right.
More of a captain's chair guy, but we can talk that out. What happened to McLovin, though? Just out of
Where is
curiosity.
McLovin? What if Mike? Did you meeting with Paulie nuke McLovin? So where is McLovin?
No, look, it's a relationships business. I'm friends with Paulie just because I want to be friends with Paulie. I had nothing to do with McLovin. I am.
No. Hold on. I made the decision, and it was separate from Mike joining us.
Sure.
Did he maybe expedite things a little bit? He could have. I played hardball with McLovin, and we parted amicably. When couples divorce, they always part amicably, and that's what it was. Like.
Is this done? Is this done? You're gonna keep your hair. You're gonna not do the bet and
No. He's shaving his head, but this is not done until Mike's sitting in the front row or in Dan's studio.
Wait, you're not negotiating this deal with me. Like, if my contract lapse, I don't have to shave my head.
Shaving his head.
Declares himself agent.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
I'm somebody who really appreciates great hair, obviously, and I would never mess with your hair. When you come here, I'm going to treat you with respect. You're not a sideshow. You want pomade? I can give you my very own pomade. Don't worry about any of this nonsense. Like, I'm sick of the shit that these guys put you through. And this is stuff that you guys talk to me about. And you talk through Paulie, through a third party. Look, I get it. But look, the gloves are off, Dan. The gloves are off.
Please stop interrupting, Mr. Patrick.
Dan, you're getting cucked.
Oh my God. Exactly what just happened to us. And why are you saying we are? It's not just me, it's all of us. I do feel like William H. Macy staring in the driveway. And Boogie Nights.
Are you offering equity by any chance?
I'm not here to negotiate here with these guys.
We won't
Is
do
this
in the public
done?
domain.
It's not done yet, though. It's not done now because
no, but he laid out his case, and it's honestly the fact that I don't have to cut my hair and I'll be welcome there, and I get some of that pomade.
But he has you in the back row.
No. You have to understand the back row is elevated. You are on a higher platform than the front row.
It's a heady play.
Yeah.
Is he going to be your executive producer? You're not hiring to make him the executive producer because then you'd have a problem on your hands there, not to cause some unrest among your good soldiers.
Well, you take Paulie then. How about that, Dan?
Whoa.
Paulie's right here. Paulie, you got any problem with Ryan being a co-producer, executive producer?
This is an easy transition for us. He's younger than McLovin. He's tall, rangy. We got many more years of Mikey Ryan than McLovin. He's a much younger
I don't have
version.
a problem with this. Seton, you got a problem if he's listed as executive or co-executive producer?
No, of course not. I was just talking to HR. They've got a lovely onboarding planned. There's going to be orange juice and bagels,
like
and it's going to be a nice presentation.
Any other seats in that back row?
You guys want to hire a lady?
Bagels.
Are you kidding me?
Look, we might find out there's a couple other people want to abandon ship there, LeBatard. Just saying.
You could use a lady. Just saying.
Hey, Dan. This is the transfer portal of radio shows. Just letting you know.
It's infuriating.
Thank you, Dan
Infuriating. It is.
Wow.
Dan,
We
this
have to do
is.
something about the Dan.
No,
incident.
Dan, you're a mentor. I admire you. You helped me with this with ESPN. You told me I could do it if I had a family at my back, but now you're raiding my family. What are you
said,
doing?
Dan, you said mi casa, su casa, and I thought that
didn't
meant
mean it like
everything's
that.
on the table.
Didn't mean it like that. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Get outta
everything.
here.
I look, I'll never steal Stugotz. I promise you.
Thank you.
I will never, even though
He asked.
he did ask when he was giving me a ride home from your wedding reception.
And I'm certain you got the resume too, right? I mean,
I'm putting it in my contract that he can't come with me.
You have to have a resume to send a resume, Stugotz. But look, I will not.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm not talking to you anymore. You and me are not friends anymore. Not friends anymore. We can't be friends. We can't be.
Are you talking to Mike Ryan or me? I can't tell.
I am going to bring to everyone's attention. It had not been brought to my attention. I wish that it had been something that had been on ESPN SportsCenter for the last 3 weeks nonstop, because I saw a play at the end of the Pittsburgh-Virginia bowl game. For the first time the other day, walking through the gym, ACC network sound down. A tape. I had not seen this. The end of the Pittsburgh-Virginia game. I saw so much Pittsburgh football this year. I enjoyed watching Pittsburgh football this
exciting.
year. I mean, their quarterback obviously is good, and they had an offense that could score. But I can't believe that I missed this play, and I think that not enough, because I didn't see it anywhere. The end of the game, Pittsburgh is winning by 10 points. It felt like a Key and Peele sketch. That's what it felt like to me, like something that was that kind of funny. And I hope that I'm explaining it to you guys and that none of you have seen it. It's the end of the game. Virginia's in like 4th and 20. Their quarterback drops back and throws it 50 yards downfield, and the Pittsburgh defensive back jumps up, knocks the ball away. That's the end of the game. That's the end of Pittsburgh's season, Kenny Pickett's season, Virginia's season. The game is over, but it wasn't like, it was obvious. The game was about to end, but that was the season-ending play that defensive back made in an obvious bomb passing situation. He gets up and starts dancing with his teammates right in front of the referee. And then, and this is the Key and Peele part, and then right in front of the referee, he crosses his arms and does one of those, stares, the cool stares, just crosses his arm right in front of the referee just to swagger, and I finish this.
You lean back a little bit.
You lean back, the old hip-hop albums, just to give off, I'm cool.
Right.
And he does this right in front of the referee. And the referee takes his flag and throws it sky high as he's preening in front of him. But the player doesn't see that. So the flag starts falling. He doesn't know he's been penalized. He doesn't care. The season's over. And he goes from the preen to immediately putting his hands out in front of himself like a machine gun. And as the flag falls by his ear hole of his helmet, he is spraying the field with imaginary machine gun fire. It was straight comedy. Like you can't do better than that at the end of a Pittsburgh-Virginia game where Pittsburgh is won by 10 points, 23-13. Wouldn't you have wanted to see that as a highlight? Because I can't believe none of you saw this, and I can't believe that I had not seen it.
Are we talking about a play that happened last night or a play that happened during a Hurricanes game in the late 80s?
It wasn't last night. It was, I don't know, whenever bowl season was.
It was in December.
It was weeks ago. But I feel like this is something that once upon a time on the late night shows, Marv Albert would have brought to David Letterman's desk and they would have shown it to America pre-internet because it's high comedy. Like SportsCenter should have been leading. I mean, how funny is that? The flag is falling out of the sky and this guy unholsters his imaginary machine gun and just starts spraying the field.
We were too busy watching a preview of the Alabama-Georgia game for the 45th time on SportsCenter, whenever that night was, so missed it.
Nobody cares about that part, though, right? That the television partnership is so strong and the money is so huge that, of course, the Alabama, Georgia, everything is a made-for-TV spectacle that makes everyone tons and tons of money.
But then they lament why kids don't want to play in the other bowl games that they totally crap on. They produce all the bowl games. They clearly put all their resources behind the playoff. And then they're the hot dog meme. We're all looking for who did this. They're the reason why the other bowl games have been diluted.
In fact, Kenny Pickett did not play in that game that you were just talking about. I know that because I bet Pitt because of Kenny Pickett, and then I realized that he wasn't playing in the game. Because ESPN is only promoting a couple of bowl games. They're really not promoting the lesser bowls.
All season long. They spend all football season telling you the college football playoff is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Forgive me, guys. I'm not even sure this was a bowl game. I think there's
no way.
Dan, I was trying to follow what was going on. As soon as you said Kenny Pickett, I knew that wasn't the bowl game.
Okay. The entire machines here have been working to try and find which game you're talking about. We've checked Pitt schedules, we've checked Virginia schedules, we've checked bowl schedules. We don't know what you're talking about.
Have they ever played each other?
You said
they're
a
in the
score.
coastal,
You said
so yeah.
21-13, like that was the score.
No, the score was that I thought it was a game played this year, but a regular season game. My bad. You guys, I said it wasn't last night. You guys said it was December bowl games. It was Pittsburgh, Virginia. Pittsburgh won the game 23-13, and this play I'm talking about happened with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game or something like that. Was it this year? So I'm watching ACC Network replay at 5:30 in the morning.
Maybe it was a classic. I mean, ACC classics. Who knows? I have Pitt playing Virginia this year. It was Saturday, November 20th, and Pitt won the game 48-38. Is that the game?
No, even better.
What?
Please find. I'm telling you, I don't have this wrong. So now maybe I'm watching a game from 2 or 3 years ago. And still, I don't understand why I've never seen this highlight. Even better.
I found it.
I think I found it.
2018, Pitt, Virginia. 23-13.
That damn mute.
It was on 5:30 in the morning.
Was John Congemi the quarterback then?
Matt Schaub.
One of the commentators' name was Cacantera.
That can't be the way he pronounces it.
I think it's Paul Cacantera. It sounded like Cagalera.
Carcatera.
How many yards did Tyler Palco have?
Kenny Pickett was the quarterback 3 years ago at Pitt.
It could have been from 1987. Kenny Pickett was.
It also might have been Tino Sinceri.
I'm sorry I confused you guys, but yes, I betrayed by the sound being down. Although that shouldn't have been it really shouldn't have been a thing. I should have been able to recognize, are the players that interchangeable, the uniforms that interchangeable? I should have probably been able to recognize.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you
Pitt
think?
In Virginia?
I don't know, but Kenny Pickett would have made it difficult, I suppose, right? Because he would have always been dropping back for Pitt.
Only had 61 yards that game.
Oof.
Speaking of swag, did you guys see everything that happened with Trent Williams, who might be my new favorite football player? Trent Williams, the guy who was at Washington and is more competent, Stugotz, in Washington than anyone in the organization was at anything they do. And he had to sit out a year, and he fought over money, and then he ends up in San Francisco. And the offensive line studiers, who know a lot more than us, can make the argument on behalf of he has been the most dominant player all across football, and you can give him Best Offensive Player award because of just how he has mauled every Chandler Jones or anybody else in his way. Did you see any of the end of that game, what he was wearing at the press conference as an offensive lineman? I have never seen an offensive lineman do this. And as Cowboy fans who were destroyed, tiny Cowboy fans were shooting middle fingers at him. He was and he's a giant, pointing at them and laughing, just roaring with laughter at them giving him middle fingers, and then went into the locker room. And how would you describe what he was wearing? Like, was it a fur? It was a lot of gold, a lot of fur, and he looked like something out of 1970s Detroit.
I believe you would describe it as icy, Dan.
But it wasn't just jewelry, though. What was the jacket that he was wearing? Because Trent Williams, Stugotz, isn't it funny how disposable the people are in that sport? That Trent Williams could be that kind of dominant, and that people wouldn't know very much about Trent Williams, that we'd be introduced.
We're not paying attention to Trent Williams. We're just not. I mean, the average fan is not paying attention to Tony Baselli, Trent Williams, the Dallas offensive line, the Rams defensive line. We just don't pay attention to that stuff. Like, I'm certain a lot of people don't know that half the Bucs offensive line is going to be out this Sunday for a big playoff game against maybe the best defensive line in the NFL. We just don't pay attention.
I don't think it's that, though, Stugotz. I believe that plenty of people are watching football differently now than they have. I would say to you, and this has been a great evolution at ESPN, Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky are helping me understand better what it is that I'm watching on a football field. Now, it takes them a minute because all of this is complicated. So it takes them 5 minutes to tell you everything that's happening in 2 plays. But just so you understand, your larger point is right? We don't really understand. None of us do. This incredible beast, this labyrinth of athletes trying to work all week to get half an inch in a space, on a tight field. We don't actually, a military school for millionaires producing soldiers, and they got to get a yard, and they got to get an inch, and Derrick Henry's out there, and it's crazy. All of it is crazy, fighting over these inches. And the way that they do this, as we judge it at home and get mad at so-and-so because he doesn't make a catch or whatever, they analyzed Joe Burrow making a throw in the Raiders game, a touchdown throw in the Raiders game, and the safety was cheating the whole way. The safety on the other side of the field, on the other side of the seam, was cheating the whole way, got there at the right time, huge athleticism, diving, but Joe Burrow put it in a place where only his tight end could catch it, and that kind of accuracy is not guardable. There is nothing. There are not humans who.
The guy did everything right and still couldn't.
More than that, you see the safety cheating. Burrow's doing everything right. It's not a stoppable play. Even within the science of what these guys are practicing every week to get to these Sundays, Stugotz, right? Because it's warrior spectacle, fighting over 10 yards at a time. Some of the best athletes you've ever seen training their bodies all week through pain and everything else to get to that spot an inch faster so he knocks away the ball, because he knew everything that was happening. He knew what Burrow's options were. They weren't going to chase. They were going down the seam, and they had to. But Burrow, when he dropped back, knows all I got to do is look left, and if I put this where I want to, there isn't a human being who's ever played this sport who can stop it. That it can't be stopped. You had the opposite side safety cheating the whole way. He knows where Burrow's going, and it doesn't matter. Like, that's what you're watching on Sundays, and Trent Williams dominates it. Trent Williams like no one you've ever seen, but he's another disposable body out there.
But he dominates it in a way that we're really not paying attention to. That's the only point I'm trying to make. I'm certain he might be the most dominating player in the NFL, but we would never know, because when are you sitting there watching the tackle defensive end matchup during a football game? You're not.
This is what I'm saying to you, though, Stugotz, as just fascinated by what we're watching, that Trent Williams can be that dominant. A star at America's most popular sport in terms of excellence,
right?
But not meriting stardom in any way that you'd see him in a commercial or anywhere else. No one would know Trent Williams. Size-wise, they might. But if Trent Williams were to walk in your house, we can do this with a handful of quarterbacks, I'm thinking. I don't think Trevor Siemian. We were just talking with David Sampson about why basketball, the mess that basketball has on its hands, because it empowered the players. It gave the players power. Basketball made them stars, and in making them stars, gave them inordinate power that football will never give them, as Trent Williams plays in a game that 50 million people watched on Sunday. And Trent Williams could come or go, and no one will notice. You know what I mean? They'll notice because left tackle blind side is all of a sudden exposed and people are getting back there, they'll notice. But the parts are so interchangeable that 50 million people watch. And this year's had more decimation than any, Stugotz. You don't know which uniforms are going to be out there. You don't know who's going to be wearing the uniform. It's just get me to that Sunday when 50 million people can go back across the decades to when San Francisco-Dallas was a game that mattered, because you got to go back decades to find it.
Were you headed down a path where if Trevor Siemian walked into your house, you would not know who he is? Because I think you're right.
The game I wanted to play, actually, because I think we could do this with even Justin Jefferson. The game I wanted to play is, what's the greatest level of fame I can give you in football for excellence that if he walked in here right now, a sports show would not recognize him? Like if he just walked in here and didn't tell us who he was, that we would sit there next to him and say, I don't know who that person is. How high do I have to climb in football on Stardom? Because I was asking you guys this as it came to fame with the other day with how famous is Tristan Thompson? Like, is he Russell Westbrook type of famous? Did he get famous with some of the outside stuff that doesn't require excellence enough to make him the kind of famous that only the stars in that league get?
I'm trying to think, Mike, if Taylor Heineke walked into these studios, would we know?
In these studios, more than any other studio in America, we'd recognize the Green Lizard. Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Can you do
excellent, but you wouldn't recognize him. You would say this guy's big.
Well, let's not do it, though, because I think we could do this with most offensive linemen and defensive linemen. They're almost all interchangeable. I'm asking you guys how high I have to go up on skill positions before it's a face that's so disposable in the disposable sport, because that is really the genius of football, Stugotz.
Yes.
It's salary cap the sport and just make it laundry running up and down, and 50 million people will watch it on 50 million people. Watch Dallas, San Francisco. That's a wild card game.
Two big brands, though. I mean, I understand, right? It's crazy, the numbers. And the ratings are up 10% year to year in the NFL, which is just ridiculous.
But you realize that the genius of the business is that the parts don't actually matter. The parts, as long as I can keep the quarterback's healthy, which is why they changed the rules when Brady got hurt.
Yep.
They changed the damn rules. The quarterback's playing a different sport. I got to keep that bigot Papa John in business by putting, white quarterbacks everywhere. The rules, you've heard me say this before, Stugotz, because the rules have protected the pocket passer, so now the pocket is the shape of a pocket, like on the back of your pants. There's very little space. The quarterback's playing a different game because they've been protecting the guys who get the broadcasting jobs, Aikman and Romo, the voices and the faces of this game in a league that's, 60, 70% black, and now still has only one black head coach because the white guys stay in power ruling the game. Like, that's not up for dispute, right? The Rooney Rule. If you don't want to talk about racism, let's just talk about rules. The Rooney Rule is implemented because they don't know what they're doing, and they need the optics of it, and still everyone moves around it. And they changed the rules at quarterback to make sure that the white quarterbacks got protected, and Bill Polian, doesn't see that Lamar Jackson can play the position. MVP.
Why are you taking the rules out on Bill Polian? I'm all for bashing Bill Polian. It was a ridiculous thing to say.
I am saying it is a wonder that this sport succeeds the way it does in spite of itself. It is a miracle that it keeps giving us every Sunday, that it could go from one day to the other. Colin Kaepernick, get out of here, to the next day. Oh, Mahomes says, never mind, end racism in the end zone. Kaepernick's still out of the league. They made the conservative pivot, and they're more popular than they've ever been. They've done so many things wrong, and 50 million people for a wild card game.
They've done so many things wrong. You're right, and I cannot wait for this weekend's games. What a great batch of games you have this weekend. The NFL always wins.
I'd say two of the top receivers in Pro Football Focus's grade rankings you would not recognize if they sat next to you. Two of them. I'd venture to say you probably haven't even heard of one of these names. So number one's Devontae Adams. Number two is Cooper Kupp. You'd probably recognize Cooper Kupp now because
I don't know if I'd recognize Cooper
with the beard
Kupp.
and stuff.
I thought Cooper Kupp was like Wes Welker's size.
Yeah, well, he's 6'2". Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel. That's your top four. Number 5 is Deontay Harris. Do you even know where he plays?
Pittsburgh?
Nope. That's Deontay Johnson. This is New Orleans Saints wide receiver Deontay Harris, according to the PFF player grades, is the 5th best wide receiver in the NFL.
Mike, I think I can go higher than that. I don't think a lot of people listening to this would recognize Justin Jefferson.
Probably. I would, but I think most people wouldn't. Most people wouldn't recognize Justin Jefferson.
Is there a quarterback that we would not recognize?
I think quarterbacks like they.
No one as famous as Justin Jefferson. But
no,
like
no
if
one
Davis
as
Mills
excellent.
walks in here, we would not know.
You would know that.
I know the neck.
Really?
I know the
You
neck.
would. Glennon, for sure.
So you're asking, are there any quarterbacks? Let's think about this.
I think Trevor Siemian is a quarterback that if he walked in here, I would have no idea who he is.
Would you recognize Taysom Hill?
I might, yeah. Might. Remember, he played at BYU for 13 seasons.
All of them against Kenny Pickett. I'm trying to think of we can't go up to the quarterback, but to me, the fascination, Stugotz, in the building of the business, it's been really smart, right? Football does always win, does get rewarded. Basketball is now suffering what happens from making all of these guys stars, Stugotz. Like, it took 30 years, it took 40 years for the empowerment to finally reach the players because it started with Magic and Bird. We're going to make them really famous, and you're going to care. And Los Angeles, Boston is going to be something that's passed down to your kids, like San Francisco, Dallas. But in football, it's just the uniforms and the quarterbacks. It's like the
and the coaches. I mean, that's it. Really, it's the coaches too. It's can Andy Reid win a second Super Bowl?
But it's stories, and
it's never stories about Trent Williams ever.
It's stories and laundry, and 50 million people. 49ers, Cowboys, and it is the brilliance of the business. No, they can't screw it up. I don't understand how a lot of guys in ownership who are not terribly bright, Stugotz, and I know many people hearing that assume that your owners are really smart. You assume it because they have a lot of money. But I've met some of these people and been wildly underwhelmed by what the intellect level is just because they have money. They can't screw it up. You've seen, Stugotz, you can agree, right? I think the audience would agree. Man, football has screwed up some big, moral, messy things over the last 10 years.
Yep.
And what?
We're all sitting around watching every Sunday.
And what? Jerry Jones made so much money during the pandemic. And what? They screw up everything at every turn. And it doesn't matter because we love it so much. We're addicted to it so much. The fantasy elements, all of it, the generational elements. San Francisco, Dallas isn't a game that's mattered for 30 years, Stugotz.
No, it was nice to see those two uniforms on the field together playing a meaningful game. It was because growing up, that was a big part of our childhood, those two teams.
Oh, those two uniforms clashing against each other.
They're great.
It's an iconic color clash.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something about color clashes. They are the key to an NFL experience. If you have a bad color clash, it just won't slap the same way.
Mike has been talking about this for months, and it's annoying. Mike thinks that it is.
I've been talking about this for years.
Niners Packers, by the way,
is a beauty.
That's going to look gorgeous on television.
No, an absolute beauty.
Not
I got another one.
Not as great as Packers Cowboys would have looked.
Nah, Packers Cowboys slightly better. I will tell you that Chiefs Raiders is one of the best for me.
Yes, because
no,
you have two.
No, but how about
contrasting colors?
Steelers Raiders? You need the colors, Mike.
You need contrasting colors for something to pop, and also something that really matters with a viewing experience: the turf. I hate watching things in that Caesars Superdome that they got over there.
But
in New
that
Orleans
SoFi is beautiful.
SoFi.
Oh my God.
It doesn't
Lucas
matter.
Oil, the
Oh
turf
my
is
God.
weird too. It's like dark.
Oh, I hate the turf at Lucas Oil
turf.
Field. Hate it. Never have a big game there.
How do we
Looks
feel
like
about
dog poo?
How do we feel about Chiefs Bills in terms of uniforms on the field same time?
No. This could be fine, but it all depends on what the Bills wear. They have an all-white set. They certainly can't go with a red set. They never gone white top, red pants, so we don't have to worry there. You know what you're going to get with the Chiefs come playoff time. Nothing cute. Now, they could go all red. If they do, then you've got to go white tops, blue pants if you're the Buffalo Bills. It's the only option here. I am so thankful that the Cincinnati Bengals decided on all white because this could have been disastrous.
You have been. Explain to me what you're doing here because
and the Titans going baby blues.
Well, see, my preference is if there was an orange pants set for the Cincinnati Bengals, unleash that. But you need all white from the Bengals. That is Like, that is a non-starter for
This
me. anything but
this
that.
is surely something that only happened to me this season, what I'm about to say to you guys, right? Because all of you have more expertise than I do, and all of you are reminding every day that I'm an old person. I saw a Jets-Ravens game this year, and I wasn't totally sure who had the ball.
It's awful.
Are you sure it was from this year?
Yeah,
What team was Joe Flacco playing for?
Wait a minute. It wasn't Joe Flacco that I was
Which
looking at.
sideline
there.
was Rex Ryan on?
I'm trying to go through all the 1999 Kyle Bowler quarterbacks
Who was
that the
Vinny
Ravens
Testaverde?
had.
Who was Vinny Testaverde quarterbacking for?
Are you doing Ravens 90s court? Is that what you're doing?
Did this only happen to me? Ravens, Jets, you're watching the game and you don't know which team is which because their uniforms are so similar.
Some teams just make such terrible decisions that it ruins the viewing experience. It's hugely important. I dread. The Rams are so bad at this. The Rams wear that god-awful bone-on-bone uniform combination that just looks like they're wearing dirty whites. And they have these gorgeous yellow pants that they rarely go to. They opt for the blue pants all too often.
But wait a
just don't
second.
like it.
So you know what the Bucks are going to wear? They have their home uniforms.
No, you don't know what the Bucks are going to wear. What did the Bucks wear last week?
It was the red, no?
No,
Red
they
and
wore
gold?
they wore white tops at home. The Bucks, you can't get a grip on what the Bucks are going to do. For the Super Bowl, they opted for white tops. Now that could have been superstition, right? We've been wearing the white tops all postseason long. Let's keep it going. They were the home team for the Super Bowl, and they decided road whites. Playoff game against the Eagles, road whites. You know what they're telling you? We haven't lost a playoff game in these road whites.
Right.
We're not going to stop now. I fully anticipate, Dan, and this is a Mike Ryan exclusive.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Here we go with this.
I fully
Exciting.
anticipate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to not mess with the juju. White tops, pewter pants, and we'll see what the Rams do. Blue tops, please go yellow pants for the sake of our eyes.
Those uniforms are the best. It's those 70s uniforms. It's the Dickerson uniforms.
They tapped in. They should have done
No.
the Dickerson uniforms.
Yeah. Those uniforms are completely different and they're awful. They're awful.
Well, they're not completely different. They're the same color.
They're the same colors, but they're designed differently.
Yeah.
Like, I had this problem with the Atlanta Falcons. You had one job to go back to the Deion Sanders era. Go back to those 30-bird uniforms, and they screwed up.
Preach. Those
Terrible.
two-tone uniforms are a disaster, and please stop putting the city name on the front of the jersey.
ATL.
I know who's playing.
Steelers have to be in this contest, right? Classic black and gold Conjuring championship
you know
pass.
what? You know what was
Steelers,
terrible?
Cowboys.
But who do you put them against? Is
Cowboys.
Cowboys the best? Is that the best you can do? The white uniforms and the stars. The best you can
I
do
think
across
so.
the uniforms in sports.
You're almost guaranteed a good color clash. But look, there was a dreadful Super Bowl that wasn't that bad of a game between the Steelers and Packers, but make me watch that game. I was playing beer pong the entire time. My eyes couldn't take it. Are you kidding me? Both teams wearing gold pants? What is this lunacy?
I'm with you guys though. The Chiefs, the red is so spectacular.
It's great.
But the Bills got to be careful with this because you can't have this be a clown show. It can't feel like a kaleidoscope of clownery because you've got so many colors out there and none of them look like they're a contrasting color.
White tops, blue pants versus red tops and white pants, we're fine. Don't overthink this. Do not.
It's important though.
It is hugely important. I'm telling you, do not discount a good color clash for a game. I'm telling you, the Bengals-Titans game is going to be better because the Bengals opted for all white and the Titans are wearing all navy. That is a tough-looking turf over there that they have. Is it Nissan Field anymore? I doubt it. But it's a
I
tough
think so,
looking,
yeah.
It's a tough-looking turf. You've seen every bowl game there. They can't scrub out this awful paint job that they have on that pitch. But thankfully, we're getting the best of bad options. Thank God.
Very impassioned, Mike.
I care
Ryan.
deeply about this.
Well, but this,
Thanking
I
God,
care
though,
deeply
I mean-
about this.
my point is
Yeah,
on the
we've got
whole
out of
thing.
this.
My point on the whole thing is football always wins because whether there are concussion settlements or whether they get everything wrong on Colin Kaepernick and Ray Rice and everything else, they can do everything wrong. But Sunday at 4:25.
Oh, boy.
when America across generations needs to get to its television, the uniform colors will entrance and hypnotize America, and we will end up in front of our televisions because, yes, those uniforms look good fighting those uniforms for 3 hours, and then I can argue afterward about a whistle or did he step out of bounds or was a second on the clock or shouldn't have been on the clock. But what I'm getting to is the addiction of the magnet in my television that brings me, ooh, pretty colors.
And that's why you watched a Pitt, Virginia game from 2018.
Watson trusts and likes Flores and has been adamant internally that he'd like to play for him next season. Now you can get wronged football coach and he comes with a quarterback. Now it can be a free agent package that immediately makes your team something, and he's aligning himself with an alleged sexual predator in order to do it. If that story is true, just as a hypothetical, you've now escalated the stakes on what it is that the Flores-Watson relationship is and what you'd have to be compromising in order to bring Deshaun Watson in, because you really not only want Deshaun Watson, but now you want his coach. Is this true? Can this be true?
Well, do you want the coach because he helps you get Deshaun Watson, right?
But does the coach not immediately become more valuable because he helps you get Deshaun Watson?
Of course it increases his value. How
Like
could
if
it
it's,
not?
If it's a partnership package deal of
yes,
two guys who now have some power combining their forces to come over because your fan base really needs that Giants fan base, Stugotz. You don't think they need somebody in charge who's going to bring them something that can play quarterback?
Yeah, but it could also be held against him, right? As he's trying to get these jobs, it's a massive red flag right now, the Deshaun Watson stuff. You don't even know if he's going to play next year.
but Mike, if he's cleared, if Deshaun Watson is cleared of these charges, okay, and you have the coach,
all 23.
All 23, Mike.
And it should be noted, like, no formal charges have been brought against him. These are like
Let's do it this way, okay?
But if your team has the coach that can get the quarterback.
Let me start here, okay? Because I always err. I don't want to normalize where Deshaun Watson exists in this weird purgatory of he's an alleged sexual predator, and now we immediately go to talking about and what's he worth and what's his value and who should get him, and it just goes back to the same thing of a team might trade everything to get those two guys. I'm just interested in the construct of what's entering here. A partnership. What he's reporting is a partnership that you have not seen before, which is not just that I get the Belichick disciple, but he brings with him the quarterback that he wants. And furthermore, I'm selling my franchise's soul to get it because of what the quarterback stands accused of. And I am inviting into my huddle everyone with, yeah, we'll compromise anything in order to win.
And in any other scenario, this would all be considered very clear tampering, as Deshaun Watson is a member of the Houston Texans. And this communication reportedly dates back to Brian Flores' time in Miami, where he was reportedly the driving force behind acquiring Deshaun Watson down here. Deshaun Watson has the power to do this because you would think, okay, in the scenario where Deshaun Watson is playing next year, multiple teams are interested, it's a free market. Do the New York Giants even have the draft capital to pull off such a thing? Well, Deshaun Watson has no trade clause, and that's how he has this level of power.
Mike, I'm fascinated, okay, if you can somehow get past all the dirty that is here, because the starting point on this is we have no idea if Deshaun Watson is criminally or civilly liable of being a sexual predator. And we have no idea when or if he's going to play or what the legal system is going to do with him. But Brian Flores, if this is true, Brian Flores just made himself the most coveted free agent coaching candidate that is out there because he comes with a quarterback.
He comes armed with a quarterback.
Possibility, right? A relationship possibility that he's right now
a great quarterback.
In free agency, he's just surveying his options. Like it's to me, I've been surprised Flores hasn't already been hired. But if he's stepping back to link up so that he can realize a quarterback coaching partnership that we have not seen enter free agency together under the weirdest of circumstances for both of them, I think you're watching something play out with the business mechanics of this that is really dirty. That you will see right now, somebody will talk themselves into, oh, I could do it if you're giving me a coach and a quarterback, and I don't have to trade anything for the coach, and I need a new coach because the Gettleman situation was a total disaster. I got a total clown show. New York hasn't been relevant in football in a minute.
They haven't been above 500 in 5 years. 5 years.
Who's willing to sell their soul? Is it the organization that tried to change the rules because it's Wellington Mara's kid?
Well, if you're looking for the best place for it, it's actually Houston, because they don't have to give up anything to get Deshaun Watson. They have him there. Therefore, your future is pretty secured because you still have pretty good draft picks. You have a quarterback in Davis Mills that there would be a market for him. I'm not exactly sure what, but he played well enough.
But Mike, he doesn't want to play there. Deshaun doesn't want to play there. I'm not saying
Deshaun wants to play for Brian Flores, according to this report. If Brian Flores is in Houston, that makes it easy. Now, it may be difficult. While it does make him a coveted free agent in some circumstances, including ones that are desperate for quarterbacks, it could be totally taking him off of candidate lists in other places.
Well, but I would say that the business of this makes that unlikely, especially if he's got the freedom right now that it doesn't have to come that way. He's negotiating what he wants to be his perfect deal. He's got free agency. It's really a great position to be in if you're Brian Flores.
Because he's competing for jobs, too. It's like LeBron wants to sign here, but Dwayne wants to sign here, too, and they got 32.
But do it this way, though, Mike. Just look at it from Brian Flores' agent's position. How do I climb toward progress through all the obstacles that the league puts in the way of people like me? I've learned from Belichick. I'm one of the few Belichick assistants who has shown you anything. And now I'm a free agent, and people are looking for leaders all over, and I've got multiple suitors, and can I make it more multiples by just saying, well, maybe I prefer that job. You're not considering me for that job? Well, what if I possibly brought you Deshaun Watson because of my relationship with him? You understand the game that's being played now. This is.
It's a gross game, but it opens up a lot of doors for Flores.
He could also get a better offensive coordinator because one of his Achilles heel down here in South Florida is no one wanted to coach for him on offense, and that's why he settled on Chan Gailey and the mishmash of offensive coordinators here. If you pursue an offensive coordinator that doesn't have to worry about you being a lame duck coach and gets Deshaun Watson to implement his offense with, it all of a sudden becomes a more likely scenario that he's able to draw a top OC.
But also combine these scenarios, not irrelevant ones. In the quest for power in a league that right now only has one black head coach, and the black head coach is the guy who's coached for 15 seasons and never had a losing one. That's how you stay employed as a black head coach in the NFL. Brian Flores, the way he did it, that's not how you stay employed, even though many of us thought he was wrong. Look at what is possibly being put together here if this is true, okay? Because I need to hit that one again and again, because there's some character stuff here that's really unpleasant and dirty as you get to the business of it. But if progress for a black man in this sport is that he's gotten a partner with that flawed messenger because he represents value at the most valuable position so that both of them can climb to a place higher, teamwork in black power, because Deshaun Watson's power flex here has been a substantive one. You don't see quarterbacks in their prime say, I don't want to play here anymore.
Yeah, like a quarterback just say, no, Philadelphia Eagles, I know they won a Super Bowl and that's a good NFL city. I'm not going there. And you're wondering, what are your options here, Deshaun? Why are you in a position to turn down the Philadelphia Eagles? It's because he wants to explore option A. I think that I fully believe this report. Schultz does seem pretty plugged in, and he speaks with a lot of conviction on these things, and he provides a lot of details. And plus, we know this about Brian Flores. We know that he wants Deshaun Watson, and we know Deshaun Watson wants to be with Brian Flores, so it would seem obvious.
We know now, though, Mike. You say we know this with Brian Flores.
No, we know this now.
We didn't know, right?
But I'm still not sure what's real there is what I'm telling you. Like,
how many people have to tell you
Wait a minute, Mike. No, wait a minute. This isn't right.
You just have an outside source right now. You were asking for more reporting on the Deshaun Watson.
I spent a year being told by every insider that it wasn't Flores on Deshaun, that it was Stephen Ross, every insider. And then Adam Schefter on Instagram says the opposite of that, and that's the truth after a year of something else was the truth.
I mean, Schefter's usually spot on, is he not?
that's a whole another ball of wax. But
I want to stay there for a second, please. Like, please help me stay here for a second. What's true? Like, what's true with Deshaun Watson and Brian Flores? What's true with Deshaun Watson as a criminal, as an alleged criminal?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious what's true, that Brian Flores fancies Deshaun Watson. He took interviews. Look, there's only 32 of these jobs, so it could be pure coincidence that he was pursuing the Houston Texans job. But you have another source now telling you there's something to the Deshaun Watson. Like,
if Stephen Ross wanted Deshaun Watson, he'd still be here. Flores would still be here, right?
Look,
it stands to reason
it was
he'd still
reported
be
at the
here.
deadline. Stephen Ross was looking for assurances in pursuing this deal for Brian Flores, who got some sort of consensus towards the end, to the point that the owner took over the negotiations, not Greer. The owner took over and didn't get what he wanted from the NFL in terms of answers for Deshaun Watson. It stands to reason that this is the scenario. Is it the only scenario that you get Deshaun Watson? Is it the only scenario in which Brian Flores would choose you amongst his options? I don't know.
How gross is it, though?
Super.
Yep.
It's
super, and it's only gross because of what's going on with Deshaun Watson and those allegations.
Well,
otherwise, you'd be on board, tampering and all.
No, but I would say what happened with Flores was pretty gross too. Like, there's just a lot of gross around this. The smear campaign, the Flores being fired, and then all of a sudden the organization going to great lengths to give you every detail anonymously on what a mean, awful person he was.
The skating amongst your fan base because everybody was blaming the owner instead of you for being the driving force behind Deshaun Watson. You have to take that into account.
But it's all ugly, and I don't know what the truth is. It's all dirty, and we don't know the truth. Like,
well, Brian Flores could give us his version of the truth. He hasn't.
But it seems, if you believe this report, not only does it behooves him to not say anything right now. Right now, he's just wronged the guy. There's nothing good that comes from him giving us his version of events, because
you don't think the absence of a denial on some of these reports?
No, what I would say,
he's the wrong coach right now, Mike.
Brian Flores, Mike, if he didn't get along with the Dolphin organization, if he was mean to everybody, Brian Flores is Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption. He crawled through miles of shit, and he comes out clean on the other side. He's got legitimate power right now. He hasn't taken a credibility hit, even with the smear campaign. Football's looking at that like, yeah, well, what? He's mean. Okay. I mean, okay.
No, he has a lot more credibility than the Dolphins organization does.
He got out clean.
So if it's a he said with Brian Flores and Stephen Ross and the Dolphins, after 3 years in Miami, like, no, Brian, you weren't the problem there. We trust you.
And Brian Flores what are the other assistants? Is it Mangini? Like, what are the other assistants?
Well, Vrabel has Belichick ties.
Okay, yep. Vrabel, fair enough, but not an assistant.
They're loose. No,
he was a player for him.
Yeah, I don't know if he was on that staff. He went to college and really.
I don't think Vrabel was on that staff with Bill Belichick.
But he's often referred to as a Belichick guy.
Fair enough.
But the fact that he has a distance is obviously
Vrabel has done some healing to the Belichick tree. He has poured a little fertilizer on it by being near the defensive Patriots huddled. But if you dominate the sport for 20 years, I mean, the Houston Texans are in this mess right now, and who is leading them is the Patriots' former team chaplain. Everybody who worked for the Patriots got hired by somebody in that league.
Outside of Vrabel, who has this like funny attitude. Yeah, you have something on Vrabel?
Well, no, he played for the Patriots. Like, that's not part of Belichick's coaching tree. He never coached under Bill Belichick.
I understand, but
I care about the tree.
He was Belichick's field general, but that's fair.
Put it on the poll, please, Whittingham. Are you surprised that Stugotz cares about the tree?
No, you have to care about the integrity of the tree. You have to, but most Belichick guys have the reputation that Brian Flores, with all these leaks out of Miami, have. Ornery, not people persons. They come in with this bravado.
Bob Kraft referred in the book, the Wickersham book, as to Belichick as that asshole. Like, it's not. I mean, okay, and
they're not pleasant people.
And what?
Patricia, like, the list goes on and on of all these assistants that have left there, coming in with that Belichick swag, and it doesn't work without the credentials.
But he's got it, is what I'm saying, and now he's got a piece that he can play with, and all of it should make you feel dirty and uncomfortable, and all of it will have us addicted to the television on Sunday, paying attention to the shining colors.
A nod of the head is nice. I love a good nod of the head.
Oh, man. The head nods are great, man.
Whittingham loves a nod of the head.
I do.
I know you do.
I do. Whenever you make extended eye contact with someone, you have to do the head nod. Otherwise, it's like, why are you staring at me? You do the head nod.
It's really a sign of affection, especially for me, if you get a head nod. Like,
really?
There you go.
A genuine honor.
Yeah.
Okay, the other night, Woody was watching the Chiefs-Steelers game with me, and he was about to say "good shout" for like the 14th time in an hour, and ejected, and then wait, what did you go?
Wait, how did it sound?
Okay, like he was like, "Gut." And then he self-corrected,
No, the
said
good shout,
something else.
it is a crutch he's got. He hits us across the
And
face.
I go, you were
with
about
it.
to say good shout, weren't you? He was like, yeah, I had to switch it up a little. I've said it too much today.
I almost punched myself in the face the other day when I said it to my wife. It's like he's rubbing off on me. I was like, my wife said something. I was like, good shout. I was like, just punch myself right in the face.
He's doing it too much. Yeah, he needs to stop. We need to correct it. But what
So
about?
you're saying it's a bad shout that I say good shout too much?
It's just too much. I believe we're all receiving it the same way, and it's good that we've talked about it. It's an important conversation. I'm glad we had it.
But in terms of the eye contact, I struggle with this in elevators, especially nowadays in the COVID world. But like, you get into an elevator with somebody, do you guys? I feel this awkwardness to like look at them and like engage, but then they don't want to, and it's just this awkward game of. Like, are we going to do eye contact? We're just going to awkwardly.
Awkward in an elevator with strangers? Never.
Because I'm overthinking it. I'm like, oh, hello. Yeah, I have to do something. I have to engage with them. I have to either do. I need the best case scenario is just eye contact, head nod. We're good. But if it's like if there's none of that, I'm like in there. I'm like looking down at my phone awkwardly. Okay, I guess we're doing the absolute. Like we're just gonna pretend we don't even exist.
Chris, I am telling you, they want nothing to do with you, and you should want nothing to do with them. Like, just be comfortable with the silence. Get to your floor. Get off the elevator.
I disagree.
That's it. Times have changed.
I've normally been a social hermit, but I've actually become overly chummy on elevators. Actually, since COVID started, I've become more chummy on elevators.
I'll punch you in the face. Don't talk to me in the elevator.
When's the last time you punched anyone in the face?
I don't think I ever have.
You've been threatening to punch people in the face across 2 decades.
If you get on the elevator first, do you ask the person that came on behind you what floor are you going on, and then hit the
common
button?
courtesy.
Yeah.
Common courtesy.
Well, you
Unless
guys are
they're
nicer than
closer
I
to the
am.
buttons, Roy.
Roy, how do you handle the elevator awkwardness? Because I believe everyone listening to this is experiencing some version of the same way.
You have Roy chatting it up in the elevator?
Just don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? It's worse than it's ever been now with COVID. People getting on with or without a mask, laughing uproariously, sneezing in your face. And
If you're getting on my elevator without a mask, I will shut the door in your face.
Punch you in the face.
It's an easy decision. Go to the back corner, pull out your phone, say nothing, look down at your phone, and then go right out of the elevator and go to your car.
The back corner, like it's so far away from everyone else.
I've got Roy with just like a noise. Like if he's in there and someone walks in, hey, how's it going?
Oh, wow, like someone stepped on a frog?
That's a lot for Roy.
I mean, what is that? Just a sound.
I think the height of eloquence for me would be if you get a yeah.
Feeling chatty that day.
That's me answering the phone. Yeah.
It's hostile? That feels hostile. They're throwing a yeah at somebody when they're calling you.
Well, I mean, you're bothering me. What do you want?
I call BS on Stugotz, though. He's so chummy with people. Like, he does this thing where you get on my elevator.
No.
I've got you being like, hey, who you got tonight?
It's totally fair. It's totally fair. Pre-pandemic, I was that guy. I was chatty elevator guy. But now, don't talk to me, especially if you don't have a mask. I mean, seriously, there's 7 people in an elevator. It's tiny. We're all going up to the 5th floor of the garage. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear anything from you. You get to your floor. I'll get to my floor. You don't have COVID. I don't have COVID. And we go on our way. That's it.
I've become so chummy on the elevator that yesterday there was a guy who was declaring the mask sign in the elevator as fascism and declaring that they wanted to make us all robots. And I still engaged him.
What did you say?
It's like, I mean, it would be fairly ridiculous if the first step towards us becoming robots was putting cloth over our face, but you do you, sir.
Right. Have you guys done the move?
And he said, good shout.
What's the move?
When you're approaching an elevator and you see someone waiting who doesn't have a mask on, and you don't want to do the thing where you like awkwardly don't get on it, so you just like keep walking and like do a little extra lap and like walk like 50 feet past the elevator and then walk back.
No, I just keep waiting. I do not.
You
tell them to go on.
I tell them to go on.
I'll catch the next one.
Yeah, but I'm usually with a dog too, so that's part of it. I've got a built-in excuse. He's a pit bull as well, so that it's an easy camouflage.
You guys can't spend 18 seconds on an elevator with someone who's not wearing a mask. I feel like
no, I do.
I get on so many elevators. Like I'm in an elevator 5 times a day. If I have to stop every time someone's not wearing a mask, I wouldn't get anywhere.
I'm not saying it's the best way to handle it, Whittingham. Okay, you can back off now. You're being very aggressive here. I believe that you've gotten on every elevator, though, and this is a part of your personality. You are trying to eliminate the awkwardness on behalf of the other. I feel like you're motivated there.
Doing them a favor.
Being extra friendly so that when you get on an elevator with Chris, who doesn't know what to do, he is then relieved because you're like, hello, and that's all you offer him. And now you've thawed the awkwardness.
Nah, man. I'd rather climb the stairs.
You don't want anyone to come in. Whittingham.
Well, I think he's specifically speaking about the garage there. That elevator is going to stop at any moment.
Yeah, he's right. Any moment. Yeah.
Moment was the word I was trying to say.
Yeah. I'd rather climb the stairs. I don't care how, like 5 floors, no problem.
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Is Roy totally antisocial? And also put on the poll at LeBatard Show. Which elevator person are you? And I want to give number of options here. Chatty.
Yeah.
Stare at the floor in the back corner. Stare into your phone. Head nod.
You're forgetting one. The eyebrow raise instead of the head nod. I do the eyebrow raise. No, you don't nod your head. You just go.
I'm
raising my eyebrows.
You're trying to be efficient. You do the eyebrow raise.
That is misleading. That could mean, can you repeat what you said?
Oh.
Raising
also,
of eyebrows.
Women also have to be careful with raising eyebrows because men will misinterpret anything.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if you don't talk, you're a bitch. If you do talk, maybe you're flirting. It's a lose-lose situation.
So you just, all you're willing to wade into this pool is I'll give you an eyebrow and leave me alone.
Exactly.
Don't tell me to smile more.
Unless you have a dog, and then we're best friends.
I've also learned that you shouldn't ask a woman what floor that they're going to because that's imprudent. You should allow them to push.
They have every reason and skepticism to always think we're going to attack them.
And you can't let the woman off of the elevator first because they'll believe that you're following them.
That's a dangerous game, though.
Yeah, be the concept.
Or ladies first, though.
Right, yeah. Or you're not
Mina Kimes tweeted about this a few years ago, and it caused like a Twitter shitstorm because people were like, well, I thought chivalry meant that the woman gets off first. And she was like, okay, but in this like specific example, specific situation when you're in a hotel, just go off first and let the woman go to their room so it doesn't seem like you're following them. It's really not that difficult of a concept to grasp.
Good shout.
Yeah, I heard you.
Good shout, Mina. You change out of your suit for this? Go more casual?
Yeah, I got my DraftKings shirt on.
You're the best. It is a DraftKings shirt.
Absolutely. I went and found it. I'm like, what? It's, if you go to the concert, do you wear the concert shirt? I do. I wear that band shirt. I don't care. I'm wearing it.
Just real quick before we get going.
Yeah.
On the triceps, it's all form, right? It's all form. Do you really because I've been like kind of plateauing at like 57 and I'm trying to get my form right. I've been told that you could do this with tomato cans and you can get that kind of cut, but you got to tell me what you're doing with the tris.
It's about making every rep count. That's all it is. Tomato cans are using a backpack with books in it. It doesn't matter. Every rep count, and the close grip push-ups are killer. I sound like such a meathead douchebag, but you asked, and I will give you the answer you're looking for.
Well, I love that you guys think we haven't already started. Like if you're gonna beefcake out on this guy, I want all that content because what you just did there was uncomfortable for me. You just going aggressively.
Just a couple of guys talking tries.
No, but you just came at him very strong. I don't know how well you know him, but you just aggressively came at him with, I find you really attractive.
Yeah, we've done that before. Kyle, you know how attracted I am to you. So I think Kyle operates in this really unique space that basically only professional wrestlers do, which is build mass, but also maintain that lean look that pops so well under those good morning football lights.
He looks in a suit. It looks well cut, and you look the part of confident guy giving you analysis. I own this stage. I'm a rock star. I'm swaggering here. This is my show.
Well, Dan, thank you. And it's just this, it brings us to our origin story and our relationship. And the first time I ever appeared on your show, I'm just waiting to go on and talk about Rodgers or Cowboys, whatever the hell we're talking about. And then there's this wild tangential rant about jaw lines, and this person has one. And then you just bring me on and start talking jaw lines. I still, to this day, I was almost 2 years ago, I still have people stop me and be like, dude, I really think you had Paul Posluszny too low on the jaw rankings. I think you should rethink that one. I get approached about that all the time, about that series that we did. Still, doesn't matter what.
Can we do it again? I'd like to objectify. Have we had some ranking improvements?
Let's just keep doing the same interview that we've always done with you and just objectify you.
Yeah, what do we got today? Toes.
I didn't know.
All right, guys. I think Greg Louganis had great toes. I remember they were wrapped around the springboard back in the Seoul Olympics, and the way he got the extension, they were close. The toes, Greg Louganis is still my greatest, but maybe some gymnasts might have something to say. This is what we do when we get together.
Look at Stugotz's face. You are totally entranced right now.
Top 5. I mean, I'm looking at him and his good looks and his chin and his tries, but I mean,
thank you.
I mean, top 5 toes of all time.
He doesn't have triceps. He has duceps.
He is hypnotizing, and I'd like to stop doing this to him. I'd like to talk football with him. I'd like to
talk toes.
He's not just a pretty face. He knows what he's talking about. And one of the things we were talking about before we got together with you here, Kyle, is that we don't know on this weekend. We're all afraid of analyzing anything because anything we think we know about this sport, we don't actually know, and everything we think is wrong. That we don't. We have no idea what we're watching, and
I know.
And we're talking about Trent Williams being the most dominant player in football, and no one knowing who the hell he is.
I know. Isn't that funny? I think it's a dangerous time too, Dan, because to your point, we don't have any givens going into this week. Like, I feel like we got rid of our givens. Like, we knew the Cowboys were posers, and that happened right in front of us, Gloria. So you can bank on that. This week, I wish we had some center squares on the bingo card. If you're talking about Trent Williams being the best player in football, no one knows. Like, we could have all upsets, or we could just have a boring ass chalk weekend like it felt like we had last weekend. It's a little scary. We're out over our skis.
Well, the reason I'm asking you this is because I'm afraid to pick against the Bucs, and I'm afraid to make it matter that it should matter. No offensive linemen and no Antonio Brown, no Chris Godwin.
You're talking about it again.
All that stuff should matter, but I don't know if it's going to matter, especially against Von Miller and Aaron Donald.
It seems like so the Rams should win. They've got the D-line, they've got the corner, they've got the quarterback who's like sort of been there. But I don't know, like there's this intangible thing that messes with our heads. I'm watching last week the terrible game against the Eagles, and it's the wild card round against a team that doesn't matter. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, God damn it, Brady's going to get in the Super Bowl again, isn't he? I just have this stupid feeling in my bones that I'm watching him. I'm like, how's anybody beating him? Who's the given here? Stafford? Rodgers? Even the Packers never get there. So it doesn't make sense. And when you start talking Vaughn and Aaron Donald, great, I get it. And Chris Godwin is out. Well, I've seen everybody from Danny Amendola to Troy Brown. I have just seen this movie so many times that I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, the Stafford Rams. I don't subscribe, man.
But Kyle, in this round, it seems like the given would be Aaron Rodgers over San Francisco. Maybe not the next round. Maybe he doesn't get to the Super Bowl, but this round, he usually does pretty well, and he'll get to the championship
I'm afraid to do even that, though. I'm afraid.
With the Niners?
This is why, Kyle, help me, because I'm deferring to your knowledge on this. Stugotz thinks he now knows everything because he went.
No, but Dan, if Aaron Rodgers at home in the playoffs against Jimmy Garoppolo isn't a given, then what is?
He just got done saying the Packers are going to bleep this up. He just finished saying this, and I'm always thinking, this happens to me every single year watching football, that I underestimate the bye, and I overestimate the team that just won. So I see what San Francisco just did, and I want to believe that they can do that to Green Bay because I saw a healthy team do it to them twice. I was telling Stugotz that San Francisco made Aaron Rodgers, when healthy, look more impotent in a great season than I've ever seen him look. And I don't know enough about what I'm watching to know whether they can do that again.
I think they can. The most fun thing to watch in the playoffs right now, guys, with all these young stars and quarterbacks, Burrow and Mahomes and Allen, they're all great. The Niners' opening drive of each game is so badass and so beautiful. And it reminds me of don't show up late to a Tyson fight because it'll be over. Do not miss the Niners' opening drive. After that, it's disastrous sometimes, and Garoppolo is a mess. But the opening drive is a symphony, and I cannot wait to watch this one against the Packers because we're going to know. I think we're going to know after 3 plays of the Niners offense if the Packers are totally screwed, because there's going to be the same story about, oh my God, their defense sucks again, or they're soft again, and they have nothing, and Rodgers is going to stand on the sideline and lose again. I'm with you, Dan. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Rodgers is too good. I've been saying that for over a decade. I look at this through the lens of like, I'm trying to teach my 8-year-old son about football and what matters and what's good. Like, he sees me like, so Rodgers is really good, right? I'm like, he's like, so he only won 1 Super Bowl, right? I'm like, that's the only one he's ever even gotten to. And he doesn't have this excuse of like, well, in the AFC, it was the Patriots thing for 20 years. And that's why Rivers never got there. That's why Roethlisberger didn't get to more. In the NFC, like what? Because Rodgers lost to the Matt Ryan Falcons and a running back named Raheem Mostert. That's what knocked him out. So I buy into this idea that, yes, pretty boy Jimmy could go into Lambeau and hand it off to this dude named Debo 20 times and they could win, because we've seen it for a decade.
It's funny to say, though, Stugotz. So if I put for you in front of you who's going to beat Rodgers, who's more likely to beat Rodgers, Brady or the 49ers? What's your answer to that? I'm asking you, Stugotz.
Brady.
Yeah, Stugotz, it's all you.
Brady. No, it's Tom Brady. I mean, he did it last year. I think he would do it again this year if he gets the opportunity to do it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers sweats the 49ers at all. I think what he sweats is Tom Brady.
Yeah, he said the thing this week, too, because everyone's saying, oh, you're 0-3, 0-3. Is this one extra special? There's different teams now. No motivation from that, which I don't know if that's totally true. Like, it's been some pretty high-profile losses that everybody remembers. But I'm trying to think if I agree with Stugotz, if it's just the Brady thing over and over again, or if it's the Niners. All I know is these games he loses every year, it's never with him getting picked off on the final drive of the game. It's usually him just standing there watching some completely incompetent defensive backer. And last year, getting ripped off the field. Like, it was the football gods were making him be off the field. So I feel like it's actually the Niners. And I feel like Rodgers is going to be standing there just watching Kittle and Juszczyk end another season for him and probably end his time in Green Bay.
I think if you gave Aaron Rodgers the choice, do you want to face the Niners or just Tom Brady? Okay, he would choose the Niners.
That is
probably.
I need to get a ruling from you, because they informed me, I did not know this, that you were the inventor of the angry run, and we need a ruling from you on what happened with Tua, whether it would qualify as an angry run, because all the rules are different for the quarterback, and it's not fair that the defensive back was in a prone position, and we didn't know whether officially is Tua someone worthy of an angry run this season or not?
Yes, absolutely worthy. He was crowned the angry run winner. He got the scepter. And listen, if we're going to go back and renegotiate all of the safeties who were on their heels when they got trucked with the whole segment and the whole institution is completely destroyed, Tua did have it. He got up, Dan. He flexed. I think he headbutted some teammates. And a lot of times it's with the angry run. It's kind of with the accoutrements and the side items. And he had a lot of those. Plus the subtext was there. The whole thing of like, this team, no one cared about me. They wanted Watson. The team doesn't believe in my future. It all came out right there on the field. And then, of course, they ended up blowing it anyway. But in that moment, yes, absolutely worthy.
I think Brandt's totally off. And I'm sorry. It's Tony, by the way, Kyle. I don't know if you see me or not.
Who the hell is Tony?
Yeah, that's right. Kyle, I think you're way off here. I think you're way off here because Tua... And when you're a quarterback, and obviously you're sitting there as a defensive back, you're waiting for somebody to actually slide, right? Yeah. And you don't see him until all of a sudden he's there in front of you and he tackles you. And I don't think that's an angry run. I think it's just a prisoner of the moment.
Vulnerable defender.
Exactly.
Vulnerable. Yeah. See, yes. I had people coming in saying this angry run has an asterisk, that when the safety is so worried about getting flagged. I still see it. It's the Tua. It's got to be the smallest quarterback in the league this side of Kyler Murray. He's still lowered his shoulder. He's still trucked.
I'm thinking of
you guys
saying,
are like, you're ruining the fun. If you really want to get into the nerdhood, what do you think, Dan?
I'm thinking the angry run is full of shit now, is what I'm thinking. I'm going to escalate.
It's over.
It's
full of shit.
Now that's an angry run.
If that's an angry run, the angry run is full of shit.
Impugning the reputation of the angry run. I'm not having that.
Yeah. You, who exclusively watches television on mute, should know that is a premier muted segment. There's none better.
Yeah, a lot of people mute that segment who usually watch with volume. It's very loud, very loud.
I don't think that's what he means. No, I think he means that your show is fun to watch even if you can't hear it.
His energy jumps off the screen. So do the like everything, dude. Everything.
He's the host.
What do you mean? What's everything?
Like,
all right,
sometimes
hold on.
a t-shirt lifts up a little bit and you see some belly button.
Mike, back off, Mike. Mike, back off.
Did you pick out the
material?
Our whole show is I'm in profile the whole time on our show. So if I ever get some of that walking around weight, it hangs over the belly, and it's totally wildly unflattering. Plus, I get armpit sweats constantly.
I've noticed that.
So you guys are blowing me up about aesthetics, and I appreciate it. Sometimes you feel disgusting on that show.
You know what? I can help you with the armpit sweat. Back channel with me. I have a medication that
what
works
is
for
it?
me. It's called Qbrexza. You need to get a prescription for it, but you can't go like the full wipe on it. Otherwise, you'll be like cotton mouth, like you were drinking all night at like 4 a.m. searching for the water. But,
okay,
a little dab here and there.
I'm deeply uncomfortable. I'm deeply uncomfortable that we have now elevated this to you are grooming him on Sundays, so he looks more like someone that you want to.
It's Monday to Friday, and also teach a man to fish.
Okay, we will get to this in a second, but Chris Cody.
I feel like we're
wasting
wasting Kyle's time.
All right, we got Chris.
Yeah, we're wasting your time. I've been talking. This is more important. I've been talking for years. I have this theory that you make a great brother-in-law. And I want you to confirm that for me.
Good use of his time,
yes. Well, no, you know what? You're right. Thank you for bringing it up because we wanted a ruling on this. We imagine that if we arrived, that maybe our relationship with our wife would be better because every once in a while we got to hang out with you and you'd be a cool brother-in-law.
It's an awesome compliment. So you're saying it would be cool to be married to my sister? Is that what that is?
I just want to I have my brother-in-law's name is Tommy, and I want to replace him with you.
To answer your question, yes, but only to get to you.
All right. Well, what are the merits of a brother-in-law?
When's the last time you shotgunned a beer?
I had a Christmas party and I shotgunned the beer.
I said to Tony, I was like, guaranteed within 2 months.
No, but
guaranteed.
You went to the Bills game. I would have thought it was
this
there.
party. Was it?
I did it like 4 weeks ago.
Okay,
and it was awesome.
No, but
and not only did I do it, like I raced and I was very competitive about it. And I think I showed up. I went right to the key to open the thing.
Yep.
Listen, all right. So I golf a little bit, but I suck at golfing. So I think that would be good. I wouldn't show you up or anything. Do what you want, I guess, with my sister. What are we talking about? What are your reasons? I don't know.
He just
you're gonna marry my wife's
with.
sister. Yeah.
Yes, he doesn't want to watch you have sex with his wife. That's Mike who wants that. That's the other one. That's Mike Ryan.
It's totally opposite.
Oh, okay.
I don't feel like I'm
Kyle, you're overly seizing on the idea of the relationship. I think Chris would have you as a brother-in-law even if you guys weren't related. It's just playing the role
just
of brother-in-law.
Somebody that you would be a great movie brother-in-law that all of us say, like, we want to get to that house and fun things are going to happen because that guy likes me and I want him to like me as much as I want my wife to like me.
Just a good hang. He's a good hang.
Yeah, just fun to hang out with.
Shotgun beers, but you guys do it differently. The host of NFL Network's Good Morning Football, it airs Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. I know I've asked you about this before. Yeah. Because you also do 10 Questions with Kyle Brandt. That podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. But you are having fun with the professional elements of this. And this show, Good Morning Football, are you surprised that more like it doesn't exist? Because you guys are teaching people, but also you're clearly having fun, not necessarily respecting the, constraints of corporate television. And you're sitting here doing something on the NFL Network, right? So you got to be careful. There's certain stuff that you got to be careful around. I'm sure they don't want you talking about, but you guys are doing a fun show, and I don't think of that as a fun league.
I know exactly what you mean, Dan, and I know this is a little bit inside baseball, but I know you guys would understand it. The reason the show works, I don't even think it's the hosts or the setup or anything, is I mean this, and I'm not. And if the NFL lets us talk about anything, I mean it. I've 5.5 years on the show, 1,300 episodes. I can't remember a single time I've gotten an email being like, "Hey, why don't you dial back on kicking the Cowboys in the balls every single Monday morning? It's getting a little much." Never. They in fact, they encourage it, and they're just like, "What do you guys want to do for the title games this weekend?" And, Schrager and I will be like, let's do this. And they're like, fine, let's just go. It's just a complete. And I think some of that is because the show's so early in the morning, they don't have time or they're not awake to say no. But even afterwards, I never get hell. I never get don't do this. And I guess there are some other shows. I know that there's many shows that try, and I know I watch ESPN sometimes and see them try to rip off our segments verbatim, but like they can keep trying. They've never told us no. I think that's why it works.
Hold on a minute, Brand. Make that accusation. I need to hear a little more about this accusation you're now filing. ESPN stealing your shit?
I turn on that network sometimes like anybody else does. And I think that they see, you guys talked about angry runs. I am seeing people up in front of a screen with really impactful highlights and guys getting run over, and they're screaming and they're saying, whoa, look at this one. Is this the best one of the week? And I've even seen them give away t-shirts, and it just seems highly, highly similar to some of the things that we do. And listen, they're the worldwide leader, and they say imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, but it flies real close to the sun, real close.
I'm not going to let you off there.
Okay.
I'm going to press you a little more on this.
Yeah, follow-ups.
Well, I'm just saying, like, once upon a time, these hits were something ESPN celebrated, and we sold big hit videos, NFL, and then we realized, oh, no, can't do it that way anymore. Concussions, got to be careful, got to be moral about this. I want the accusation publicly made because you're talking around it. Mm-hmm. You're alleging ESPN is trying to steal your angry runs, which I've called a load of shit now that you've given Tua an angry run.
Yeah, but the second you open the door to any ESPN criticism, it's like catnip for Dan.
That's right. And so I'm going to see if I can just trap you into the viral moment that dares to criticize that ESPN has stolen. Let me go get a wrestling mask.
Like
Hold on
a
a
big,
second.
oversized fat cat just rolling around in catnip right now.
Here, I'm gonna, Dan. I'm not gonna give you the catnip. I'm gonna give you the laser pointer on the floor and make you chase it. The names and the specifics evade my memory right now. I really can't put a finger on who or what, but I think that I remember they used to do Jacked Up, and it was an amazing segment, and we all loved it as a fan. And then they're like, oh well, we can't do this anymore. Angry runs. If anybody ever gets hurt, or there's the player needs to be helped off, we can't include it. Those are the rules we go by. And yet, when I'm in the gym or I'm stopping by the subway and they got the TV on and it's ESPN, I see people doing things that are wildly reminiscent of the thing that I do, with some of the same little details and some of the same tone and the screaming, and it's highly, highly, highly reminiscent. And I will continue to put it that way.
What's your bench PR?
Now or back in the day?
No, your PR,
personal
man.
record, man.
PR for life. When I was a senior in playing college football, I did 1 rep for 340.
Get the hell out of here.
Yes.
Really?
No way.
But I got to tell you, like,
deadlifting?
No, I'm not doing any of that Olympic stuff, the knees and the back and the stuff, but I will still bench. And I mean it. You know how Rich Eisen does his 40-yard at the combine every year, and he makes all this money for charity and all that. I have said I will go and I will do bench press reps, and I can beat several of the players who are showing up there to the combine. I promise you right now, I can do it.
You don't have to
we believe you.
I believe every word that comes out of your mouth.
And I'm not. I'm only giving you guys this because this is your catnip. Normally, that's all-time douchey stuff to talk about how many bench preps you could do on a show this big. But I know you guys are here for it.
Yeah.
I have one more brother-in-law stipulation. When's the last time?
What do you got?
Have you ever played disc golf?
It's a big one. That's a big one.
I've not played disc golf. I've not.
I'll still have it. That would have made you the perfect person ever.
Really?
That's what you want.
Disc golf?
I just need a dude to hang out.
I misheard.
Yeah, Mike wants to play dick golf.
Dick golf and tonsil hockey. Yeah, I'm more than willing to play both. Isn't frisbee golf just an excuse to smoke joints like over?
That's exactly what it is. Yes.
Who, me?
Right. Yeah. We don't need an excuse for that.
Well, isn't that the question?
He smokes weed.
There you go, Chris. There it is. Why didn't you just ask him that question?
He read through the line.
Hey,
we were
Kyle,
talking the same language. Me and him
together. Why didn't you just ask him that?
Well, yeah, not subtle. Like, Kyle, do you like blacklight posters and Bob Marley? Not really, but I hear you.
Kyle, good talking to you, sir. Thank you. And thank you for the way that you guys are doing it, because it's fun. It's been fun to watch you just enjoying it.
Even though you never watch it because it's on mute.
It's not that hard. No, I always watch it the same way Mike does, leering while it's on mute. I don't need to hear him. He's just a beautiful face.
You're not just another pretty face to me,
and
Kyle.
tries and glutes, and he said he looked disgusting when he bends over, like you could imagine. Like you could imagine.
Listen,
show us.
I usually wear short sleeve Friday. I will give a tricep flex tomorrow just for you guys, because I know it gets the engine running. I don't have any. I never have more fun on any show other than this show. This is the one. I love you guys. I will have the tries tomorrow.
Let's do this. Hold on. What
do
you
a little
promise?
slap of the thigh before you do like a bodybuilder.
What are you promising us? Let's get Kyle to play something for our audience.
All right.
But also though, Chris is pushing you toward he wants to actually actually see your abs. Chris Cody, you didn't
think
hear
he just
that.
wanted him to bend over.
Did you say abs or ass, Dan?
Abs.
I was a video
with
cut
a
out.
B. With a B.
All right, here's what I'll
Dealer's
promise
choice.
you. I'll promise you. And this is so douchey and such a steakhead move. When the Good Morning Football show starts tomorrow, I'm talking the opening shot of the final show before the divisional playoff round. I will do this. I'll be sitting like this. And I will tap.
No way.
And then I will do a big tricep flex, and you guys will see it, and you'll know it's for you. I promise.
Beefcake. We are infiltrating the NFL.
I'm even going to get a pump on before the show. Like off the set, I'll get in like the push-ups so they're jumping.
Can we possibly, and I don't want to be greedy about this, but in our relationship, just can we get something that is almost a full bodybuilding flex show in your suit? Just a show.
Dan wants more. I don't know if you can tell with the subtlety of dick golf after the joke kind of landed.
Guys, should we just get it over with and just have a big orgy, like all of us? Let's just all make love to each other.
Yes,
let's do it. I'm in.
I'm so disgusted.
You're disgusting.
Double tap and the tricep to start the show. Watch, and you guys will know it's for you.
How about a wink? How about a wink? A wink with it?
Thank you.
Wait, hold on. You want a wink?
Hour, up at 7.
Let me think about the wink, but definitely a 2-slap tricep and possible wink. I'm telling you, 7 a.m. Eastern and re-aired at 10 a.m. Eastern. It'll happen.
Oh, Good Morning Football.
Later, fam.
Love you guys. Bye. Kisses. See ya.
See ya.
Are you ready, Chris Cody? I see him mouthing words. Just get to it. I don't think it's funny if you're sitting there trying to do research and reading. Just let it
fly, man.
Let's and tell people.
Wait,
look,
are we all playing different roles? I'm playing Banquo, and there's no Banquo on my sheet.
Oh, okay. I was going to give you the role of Duncan.
Oh, no, I don't want Duncan.
I'll be Duncan.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna do this. All right. I love this
Who's
right
Malcolm?
now.
I'll be Malcolm.
Okay.
All right. Everyone's ready. We're doing this on the fly.
Cody is Surgeon.
Surgeon. Yeah.
Okay, so
this 7 paragraphs. That's me. Okay, thanks.
But you've read it already, Chris. You've read it already.
Alert. Quit cheating and reading already. Let's do this. Let's do it correctly. I did not think this is where we would end up before a football weekend.
So glad we did, though.
Doing Shakespeare as a unit, improv on the fly. Mike hasn't
They just put words in these sentences that don't belong. It's
Quit
like,
reading
why?
it. Read it for the first time live. It's funnier that way. Mike Ryan is producing an impromptu version of his high school life. And here's some Shakespeare. It's done by the Dan LeBatard Show with Stugotz. We've stolen the exclamation point officially from Get Up. It's put after the word show.
So this is Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth. The stage instructions are: a camp near Fours. Alarm within. Enter Duncan, Malcolm, Donalbain, Lennox with attendants, meeting a bleeding sergeant.
I don't even know what that means.
Jessica, you will play the role.
All right, so wait, can we set the scene? Thank you, Mike. Can we set the scene, Mike, from high school? Can you give Chris Cody his motivation on, because he didn't even understand what Whittingham.
Am I happy?
Like what?
Am I like distressed?
What, in what condition does the distressed? Okay, very good. Good confidence there. Let's have the music that we need, the Shakespearean music, and let's see if we can find our note here.
What bloody man is that? He can report, as seemeth by his plight of the revolt, the new estate.
This is the sergeant, who like a good and hardy soldier fought gainst my captivity. Hail, brave friend! Say to the king the knowledge of the broil, as thou didst leave it.
So true.
Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him from the western isles. Of kerns and Gallowes glasses is supplied, and fortune of his damned quarrel smiling. Showed like a rebel's whore. Showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserves that name. Disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked a blood with bloody execution.
What?
Yes.
Like Valuor's minion carved out his passage till he faced the slave.
I feel your distress. I really do.
Which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell, to him till
It's
he
Nair.
uniseamed him from the
Unseamed.
nave
Rolling.
Don't let them deter you.
to the chaps and fixed his head upon our battlements.
Oh, valiant cousin, worthy gentleman.
As whence the sun gins his reflection.
Missed your cue.
Shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break. So from that spring whence comfort seemed to come.
Wait a minute. There wasn't a question mark there.
Discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, Mark, no sooner justice had with valor armed.
Oh, you think you're done?
Humbled these
Compelled.
these skipping kerns to trust their heels.
Not compelled. We need
But the
compelling.
Norwegian lord surveying vantage,
Which is it?
furbished arms,
Vintage advantage.
and new supplies of men
All right, we've
begin a fresh
we've
assault.
tested
This
his
day,
endurance.
not this. Our captains, Macbeth and Banquo?
And scene.
You almost made it to the finish line. You started leaking confidence. It was not unlike the race outside in Freedom. You were very confident for a moment, and then you fell at the finish line. But
Showed his long track.
Excellent, Chris. Excellent.
Vintage vantage.
Long white crowd.
Coupled, compelled.
Ah.
Sheets and giggles.